Hello and welcome to Poker Night Live. It's the only show that brings you live online Texas Hold'em poker 7 nights a week. We're here for your education and your entertainment. And I'm Kara Scott, and next to me is the poker expert for the evening, Dr. Tom.
Good evening. How are you, Kara?
Good evening. I'm very well, thank you. And you?
I'm all right. Nice to see you. I haven't seen you for a while.
No, you've been away. I've been away.
Yeah, but our paths crossed once again.
Ah, star-crossed, but here we are. And it's going to be a fabulous show as well. Ooh.
Well, no responsibility there then.
None at all. I like the eyebrow move as well.
Thank you. I've been perfecting that one.
I'll say it works. I'm going to go out on a limb there and say that it works. Feeling a bit warm and flush now. Right, we've got quite a bit of stuff here for you tonight. We've got Texas Hold'em in all of its varieties. We've got cash games, sit-and-goes, multi-table tournaments. You never know what might pop up. We've also got the Beat the Presenter slot, which of course I'll be playing, and hopefully getting some tips from Dr. Tom as well on my play. And the other part of this is you, because this is a live and interactive show. That means that you and your comments and questions pretty much lead our discussion. So if there's anything out there that's been burning on your brain, a question, a comment, something about strategy, you can text poker and your question to 84222. That's a new number there, so make sure that you put the word poker first. Or you can send us an email if you've got kind of a longer question, need to take some time to explain in a bit more depth. poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. And of course, if there's anything else you need to know about our show, take a look on the internet, www.pokernightlive.co.uk. We've got a forum on there as well. A lot of the regular players also post different strategy ideas and whatnot, so there you go. And that's the way it's going to run tonight.
And it's going to be the best show ever. Isn't that right, Kara?
Ever. That is a seal guarantee.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Super.
Okay, should we take a look and see what kind of tables we've got for the evening?
Let's kick off the best show ever by looking at our 4 tables. And they are the best tables you'll ever see on Poker Night Live. Here they are. Holy moly, it's a 25, 50-cent cash game.
Wow, again, I feel all flushed.
Moving on. It's a $5. The $5 sit and go. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, $5 sit and go. And one of the best you'll ever see. There it is. Table 3. People are rushing back from the pubs to sit down and watch Poker Night Live. They've heard the news. It's the best ever second $5 sit and go. I take it back. I said the last one was the best one. It's just been superseded by this one. Here it is. Thrills and spills. And finally, the best shade of green you've ever seen on a multi-table tourney. There it is.
Wow.
Quite an exciting multi-table tourney.
Yes, it really is as well. This is the qualifier for the Poker Bowl semi-finals, in fact.
Ah.
Very, very exciting. So some of these players on the MTT will be making it into the semi-finals and then hopefully coming into the studio live for a real live poker game.
Back there?
Back there.
We will have a light bulb back there when you play, don't worry, and a table.
Yeah, it'll all be decked out. It'll be beautiful.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
There'll be free cheesy snacks for everyone.
Really?
Well, maybe not. But I've said it now on air, so
They're
we're
going to
gonna
have to, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm so going to be here. I can't wait to see it. Yeah.
Well, maybe you'll be commentating. Or
Might do.
tournament director.
Actually, I think I'm working that night. I'm doing Poker Night Live, and so I'll be, preparing, doing my heavy research on poker for the show in the evening. But I will pop by and say hello, definitely.
Okay. Terrific.
Okay, well, let's start with that multi-table tournament then, and see who may be coming to visit us here in the studio. Is it the best ever multi-table tournament?
Need you ask, Kara, need you ask. Look at that. And here they are. Creamed cage one. I've got a feeling that might be rude.
I think it might be.
Look, it's Al Pig.
Al Pig.
He's a great player, Al Pig. And we saw Dean P the other night too.
Oh,
And
yes.
Buffy Bigger, lots of familiar faces here. And Enigma.
Yeah,
Creamed
TM
cage.
DVD.
Is that a sort of choux pastry, do you think?
It might be.
Yeah, I think it's like a chocolate eclair. It's creamed cage.
Oh, is that? Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
That makes more sense to me. Well, there you go. Beginning stages of our MTT. You can tell because the blinds are at 10 and 20. And this has a different blind structure from the sit-and-go milieu of Texas Hold'em poker, in that it is a bit slower and they've got more chips. So by the time you get to the end, there's a bit more play, isn't there, on the final table?
Yeah, that's right, yeah, absolutely. Especially if they've been playing fast and loose early and people have acquired large chip stacks going into the final. Then, but we do see quite a lot of variability about the chip stack sizes at the final table. So it tells a story when you get there and people are chipped up or not. Generally, if they're all short stacked at the final, it's been a fairly slow and steady game.
Ooh.
Crash Flux crashes and burns there.
Wow. It's quite early to be risking your tournament life.
Well, who knows? Maybe he's got another one lined up, or doesn't really want to come and play the Pokeball. Who knows?
Maybe he's just playing with everyone, playing with their minds.
Maybe.
Maybe he's trying out a theory, and it's just not working. I know how he feels,
Mhm.
if that is indeed the case.
It's important to experiment in poker, but don't do it on a live TV table.
Or live on TV, in fact, as I've been doing, much to my own humiliation.
How's it been going with your sit and go performances, Kara?
It's getting better.
Good.
I've really been trying out a few different things, but of course, doing it on television probably not the best way to do it. I've come third 2 nights ago. I cashed in the Beat the Presenter slot, and then a couple of nights before that, I won a first and a second on the TV tables from home. So that was very exciting. They even showed my heads-up match on the show, which I was so excited to be on telly.
Fantastic.
So it's getting better, definitely, but I'm taking advice all the time on my poker play.
Okay. My advice to you would be not to get so good that the pros look stupid.
You know what? I don't think there's going to be any danger of that.
Well, we'll see, Kara. Crash is out. Look, El Peeg has taken him out.
Wow.
Oh, he's not out. I take it back.
Oh.
He's chipped up. What happened?
I don't have a clue. El Peeg, what have you done?
So a limp there from TMDVD, coming in with the fours, hoping not to get raised, but he has been, and I think he's going to have to let go. Oh, he's called.
Oh my goodness.
Very dangerous.
I'll say.
Look at that, and it's gone all topsy-turvy. Now it's the ace-queen has hit, and the fours are drawing, but they're not drawing to a great flush. And I think there's going to be a raise here, Kara. There it is.
Yeah. Putting in 60 in a pot of 5-10, it's just not going to scare anyone, is it?
No, it's spitting in the soup. Creamed Kaj takes it down. So, fours, those small pairs, they play badly out of position, and you can quite happily chuck them away.
Yeah. Especially if you've asked a question and someone's answered it. If you're saying, does anyone have anything, and they put in a big bet, well, then they probably do have something, unless they're stealing, but is it really worth it to find out?
That's right, and you've got to let it go either way. So you are going to sometimes be laying them down to bluffs, but if you're laying them down after having put in money in the pot, then no point in being in the pot in the first place.
That is a good thing to follow. So, as a new player, do you think it's a good idea to limp in, but in late position, to see a few flops if I've got, maybe some face cards or higher suited connectors, that sort of thing?
It's not a bad idea. You don't want to become known at the table as being the guy or the girl who limps in late position, because if you do that reliably, people just say, well, okay, you can raise this person from the small blind or the big blind.
Yeah.
Make them pay. So, as a beginning player, I think probably the habit that everyone's got to get out of is simply to stop limping and doing some raising. And it's not a bad discipline as a beginning player just to stop calling and say, well, I'm going to fold or I'm going to raise. And maybe 80% of the time I'll fold this hand and 20% of the time I'll raise it, but I'm never going to call with it.
Okay. I will bear that in mind.
Well, you're not a beginning player now, Kara.
Not as much as I was, no. I think I'm finally getting a real handle on some of the principles. It's just putting them into practice consistently, I think, is the key for me.
And there, Dean's decided to raise with his pair of eights, and he's picked up 30 because they all fold. So good luck to him. I'll pick with the ace-king now. Definitely good for 60, I should think. Maybe 80 if it's a loosish game. Or 20. Oh, he's caught the king. He's not going to get paid.
Wonder how he's going to play this. He's got a top pair and a great kicker.
I like the bet there, Kara, because I think he's trying to represent a cheap bluff. He knows he's got a hand that's almost certainly winning, but he's hoping his opponent will say, hang on, you're scared to bet properly, you're trying to buy this pot cheaply, I'm going to raise you off this with a bluff. And I think that's what El Pig's plan was. But he couldn't get paid from Buffy.
No, but both seem to be quite solid players. I think you start to get a real feeling for the players after a while.
That's right, you do,
them.
yeah. Yep. And look at this. the moment, it's a case of kicker versus kicker, ace versus king, but there's a house on the board now. Anyone dare pushing the other one off it? No. Now, if your opponent goes all in there, Kara, you face a difficult decision, because probably you're going to split the pot there with an eights full of tens, but if he's got a 10 in his hand, then of course he's got a higher full house, and you see these sorts of pots developing, and you just hate to face those big bets where you're either calling to split it or you're calling dead on the river. In fact, it characterised the final hand of quite a big World Series event. In fact, the main event a few years ago. It was
Really?
Scotty Wynn who made the higher house to a house on the board, and he persuaded his opponent to call him and took the tournament.
Ooh,
Yeah, nasty.
that's a pretty exciting way to win, though.
Yeah.
I bet the spectators love that. Well, there you go. That's the one of our tables on the MTT. We're going to leave it now just to take another look at a different table. Through the matrix we go and get a feel for some of the other players who may be coming back to the final table.
Familiar faces here, Alan Thompson, Making Jam, Barrog UK. He played a very tight game last night, Alan Thompson. We were commentating on his tightness, but look at this, he's in this pot with ace-5 suited.
Mixing it up a bit,
Oh, he's caught the ace, and he's quite fortunate there.
I'll say.
But he doesn't know whether the ace is good. Let's see if he checks it, finds out more. 480 in the pot. Yeah, he has checked it, picked up the flush draw. Amazing. He's going to take this down almost certainly now.
Should Victoria Jane put in a big raise here? And try
Well, it's worth having a pop at it, because if Alan hasn't got an ace, he's probably got a fold. But Victoria's trying to find out cheaply, and there you go.
Yeah.
Now she knows.
Oh, she's going to have to throw that away.
I think so, yeah. Especially if she's been following Alan's table image, which is fairly tight.
Yeah, I watched him do a heads-up tournament a couple of nights ago, actually, against one of the other players. I don't remember his screen name, but he sent in an email saying that his view of Alan Thompson was that he was very tight, but that he probably played in a beige vest. Interesting.
Are you listening to that, Alan? Could you tell us the colour of your vest?
If you are indeed wearing one.
And what colour it was originally?
Oh, yuck.
Chupa 50. Oh well. Barrog's picked up the straight draw, but he was drawing to a draw, hasn't made it, but he's actually ahead. Oh, rather behind, because the 4 there for ace.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the Poker Night Live mint.
Maybe Making Jam's just going off and having a cup of tea. Bit of toast and jam.
So everyone's got a pair. The jacks are good. And Chupa comfortably ahead here. It's a fairly frisky table, this one. Blind still at 10-20, people wanting to get involved.
Yeah, with some interesting hands.
Uh-huh.
So would you be building your chip stack early in the tournament? Is that where you'd be focusing your energy?
I have my only tournament strategy, really, to be honest, Kara, is I don't have one.
Okay, you just
So-
play whatever the situation is.
Yeah, I'll play the cards. If I've got a card drought, then sure, I'll probably bluff a bit more, because I know I haven't been betting, so my table image is good. But the idea doesn't matter if I'm losing chips and there's nothing I can do about it because I'm on a tough table, say, or a loose table. I just roll with it, you know.
Yeah.
And you've got to be patient. Near the bubble, I might come up with some sort of strategy, because that's a clear sort of tournament point. But generally, when you start, you're a long, long way away from the money, and you can't win the tournament in the first 2 hours. So just roll with it.
Okay.
Just a limp there from early position from ace. That's unconventional play. It's a great situation to have yourself up against a worse ace, but unless you make a third ace on the board, which is relatively unlikely, you're not getting yourself in that great situation of having your opponent drawing with a worse kicker. Drawing to just that kicker. So ace takes it down, but dangerous way to play out, I think. Ace Queen versus Jacks here. Let's see if Ace Queen takes a view here. Oh yeah, he has taken a view, and there it is. Oh, Ace has gone all in with 10-7. Oh my God, that's a filthy call.
Wow. Wow. And he didn't have to.
No, what was he thinking of? Did he press the wrong button?
What?
Amazing.
Huh.
Well, big old sort of double up there for Bacon Jam. Strange call. If you're out there listening, Ace Juice, then drop us a line and tell us what were you thinking of.
Yeah, it would be good to know what you were planning on there, and yeah, really.
And how you feel also about throwing away your tournament life like that.
Yeah. Are you devastated? Let us know. We'd like to know here in the studio. You can text us or you can email us. 84222. Text the word poker first and your question or your comment. Or you can email us poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Anyone out there who has a question about poker, maybe it's a strategy question, maybe it's something that's been bothering you for a while, you just can't figure out about the game itself, whether it's a question from a new person who's new to poker, it's beginner night, that's absolutely fine. Something a little bit more in depth, maybe, to test Dr. Tom, give him something to get his teeth into, that's up to you. Yeah.
Okay, easy questions are good too.
Yep, absolutely. Any easy or hard. But for now, we're going to go to a cash game. We're going to switch gears a little bit and show you the other side of Texas Hold'em. And this is a 25-50-cent cash game.
And here it is. Look at Scab. Scabby, scabby, scab in seat 8. So maximum sit down here $50, minimum sit down $5. Blinds 25 cent, 50 cents. So a small cash game, but you can still dent your bankroll if you play badly. It's not hard to throw away money playing poker. It's quite hard to make it. And a bit of a limp there from Dean P and his Potty Dotty coming with a mini raise. Strange sort of play. When you see those mini raises, often they're intended to isolate a given player. So, for example, players behind Potty are facing a bet of $1, but Dean is facing a bet of only $0.50. So, often those smallish bets are made to isolate a particular player. But why Potty Dotty would want to do that with Dean, I don't know.
Oh, especially now that Dean has 2 pair.
Oh, look at that, and he's been outdrawn. Potty Dotty with a paired board makes aces and 5s, and that's most unjust.
It is. So most people tend to sit down with the maximum buy-in, don't they, on a cash game?
Usually, yeah.
Is there any reason to sit down with any less? Because if you don't want to continue playing, obviously you can just cash out and finish the game, can't you? Just stop playing.
The only reason to sit down less, really, is if you play badly with a big stack.
Oh, okay.
Which some people do. Or maybe if you're having a pop, maybe you've got limited bankroll and you know that at a table with stakes higher than those that you normally play, there are known maniacs, then you can sit down on that table knowing that you've got an edge with 25 big blinds because they're going to call you down with rubbish. And if you get outdrawn, you get outdrawn, but at least you've only lost a smaller amount of your bankroll. So yeah, that's probably the best 2 reasons to sit down with a limited bankroll.
Okay. Do you suggest that everyone should really have any poker player who's been playing a lot of sit and goes, should I make the change into cash games? Is there any reason that I should? Is it going to teach me a different side of poker?
Yeah, I mean, it's easier to make money playing cash. I mean, that's the bottom line, because people play worse.
Really?
Oh, definitely much worse, because they can rebuy. It's not their tournament life hanging on it. And also, of course, they have deeper stacks. They've got more chips. So if you're good at reading your opponent, then as the hand progresses pre-flop to the river, you slowly acquire information because you're better at poker, and they stay where they are. So that gives you an edge, which of course is lost in tournament poker because quite often you're all in on the flop or before the flop. So there are lots of good reasons to play cash. I prefer tournament poker because it's more fun, but cash is a bit more lucrative.
Okay. And they do have really small levels as well, don't they? You can go down to like almost 1 cent, 2 cents.
Yeah, it's amazing what you can do now. So in the grand scheme of things, the average poker player on the net is playing smaller stakes than this. Even though this level is nearer the bottom end than top end, But most people are playing those tiny micro games, either recreationally or dreaming of bigger things, or working their bankroll up like pros in the making. But probably a bit below the professional level here at 25-50 cents. You play 5 or 6 of these tables at once, you could probably hammer out a living, but a bit meagre. Bullets take it down.
Ace King for Dean P. Are there different starting standards in a cash game, or is it again very much the same? Although, as you say, a lot of people play looser in cash games. Therefore, if I played tighter and kept my starting standards quite high, maybe I would do well.
Yeah, I think you can. It's easier to beat a cash game just by sitting and waiting for big hands. Certainly, if you've chosen your game well and it's a game with loose, preferably loose, poor players. Certainly, if they're aggressive, of the aggressive kind, which they normally are, then you're wise really to exploit those players by waiting for a big hand in a cash game, which you can do because the blinds don't significantly dent your stack. In a tournament, if you've got a loose aggressive player on your table and you wait for a big hand, that's a dangerous situation because you can easily halve your stack before you get yourself all in, and if you double up, well, you're back where you started, and you're never guaranteed to double up there, he might outdraw you. So yeah, you can play with a much higher starting requirements in cash game. It's not necessarily the best way to do it because you can make a living by, or make a profit on that table by getting involved with all sorts of hands. Because of course you've got a bigger stack, those implied odds hands, things like 7-8 suited and so on, they become more powerful in that respect, and you can play them softly, whereas in a tournament often you'd make a big move with them hoping to have your opponent fold. So yeah, I guess in cash games there's more variety in the sorts of standards you can employ.
Okay.
Portman Road makes a bet. Misses, and does he put in the continuation bet? Let's see, $6.50, a bit cheap, but works fine. And that only has to work about 50% of the time to easily pay for itself and more. So not a bad bet. I think I might have made it slightly bigger. Foley calling in a small blind there with the ace-9 suited. And he's in danger. He might want to represent one of those cards, because in this sort of matchup where someone further around the table has bet and the small blind calls, quite often the guy further around's got the ace and the guy calling's got the picture card, and Foley might have been tempted to try and represent one of those and push out an ace, but he's now picked up a flush draw against the 2 pair, as well as his straight. If 10 comes, he's got quite a few outs, Foley. There's a pot-sized bet, and he is just about getting odds to draw against a pair, because then his ace would be good if it came, but against 2 pair he wasn't quite getting odds.
Potty Dotty likes to get into these pots.
He does, yeah. Yes, he does, and he's limped there with King 3, which is a miserable play.
Yeah?
And he's chucking money away there. It really is. And even the really good, aggressive players don't play a hand like that, because there's just nothing going for it. It's unsuited king, bad kicker. I mean, they'd much rather play 3-4 or 7-9, than King 3 or Ace Deuce. It's just a miserable hand. And of course, they raise with it instead of limping in. And he's caught the king, and on this occasion, if he wins, he'll win a small pot, but generally he'll lose a big pot with that hand. And at the end of the year, when Potty Dutty does his accounts, and if he's got Poker Tracker and he has a look at what King 3 has cost him, he'll find that if he plays it like that, he's probably going to lose $100, even at this sort of size game, if he plays every night. And it's what poker players call a leak. It's just a leak of some of the money he's winning playing maybe other hands quite well, but he's leaking money on that hand.
A good thing to keep an eye on. I know I've heard a lot of different players say this sort of hand is where I'm leaking, or I leak from the big blind or the small blind, or... Yeah,
small blind is often a source of leakage. Because it looks so cheap to call there in the small blind with not much, but at the end of the year, How many times have you called there and thrown your hand away on the flop?
That's a really good point, because over a year it really would start to add up.
Yeah, it ends up being a holiday.
Oof. You put it that way, and that's quite painful, really.
Well, a holiday to Whitstable, say.
Oh, even still, if it's nice weather.
Yeah. Nice to get out of London.
Yeah, have a bit of a donkey ride on the beach.
Yeah. Queen, 4 times the big blind, no messing, he's going to take it down. And again, when you've got 137 chips there and the blind's 25-50, Queen isn't quite the massive hand it is in a tournament. You know, you can do yourself a lot of damage with that hand. So you won't be desperately unhappy to take it down there and then. Portman Road buying position cheaply there. He's pushed out all the players behind. He's given Potty Dotty nice odds to call. And I quite like that bet because Potty Dotty may well call. And Portman Road has sussed him for being one of the looser players. He proves me wrong by folding. And that's the player Portman Road wants to have in the pot then. Middle pair for Lurch. And a bet to clarify the situation. Why not? There it is, half a pot size bet. Takes the pot down.
And there you go, a little bit of cash game action for you to whet your appetite for the evening. And now we're going to have a text, because people out there are watching. It's a Sunday night, they're kicking back with a cup of tea and watching Poker Night Live. What a nice way to spend the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. And here you go, this one is from someone who didn't send their name in, so please do remember to put your name on it, because we like to know who's sending us texts and emails. And it's quite a short one. It says, how do you detect trips? My thought would be, perhaps if there's a pair on the board and someone's betting, but that would just be my thought.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's if there's a pair on the board, of course, trips is a real possibility. But I think we can take here the subtext of the question is, how do you recognise trips when someone's got a pocket pair in their hand? And it is a real problem, Anonymous. Trips are the mystery hand, which is why they've got such terrific implied odds when you're playing them, because no one can see them, so you can get paid big by those. But of course you're asking from the other perspective there, how do you avoid paying off trips? You can't really see trips, unfortunately. All you can do is detect strength. And that's what you're trying to do in that situation. So if you've got top pair, top kicker, or you've got 2 small pair, for example, then if they've got trips, they've got you beat. That's all you need to know. So ask yourself, how strong are they playing? For example, if you've got a tight image yourself, and you raise them and they come back over the top, well, seriously, what can they have if you've got top pair, top kicker, or 2 small pair that they aren't beating? That's all you can go with, just using the basic poker principles to detect strength.
So there you go. Hopefully that answers your question. If not, do send in another email. We love to hear from people and hear what they're thinking about on a Sunday night. Excuse me, poker related, of course. But now we're going to go back to our MTT and see how some of our regular players are doing. Now this is a rebuy in the first hour. That's important to know as well. And I believe we still have 27 players left.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. Let's take a look.
And there's just one prize, is that right, Karen? That's a seat in the Poker Bowl semi-final.
That is true, yes.
Down to 27. I'm going to put my money on El Peeg.
Ah, well, he is a very good MTT player.
He certainly is, yeah.
And I think the largest stack here is actually held by Pinago.
Pango?
Pango?
Yeah, he's called Pango, but he was so smashed when he typed his name in the first time he joined us. He got it wrong.
Really?
Yeah.
That's quite funny. Well, Pango is apparently the MTT large stack.
Great stuff.
Ding, ding, ding.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Lots can change, though. Mm-hmm. He's only got about double the average stack, so in the grand scheme of things, he's got a 13th of the chips there. How is he going to play Queen 6? Well, he may not get a chance to play it. With panache? No, just with a sober check. He's got top pair. And the boss got a bit of work to do. 3 straight, well, and a 3 flush. And folds it. wonder if El Pig is still in the tournament. I should have checked that before pinning my colours to him.
Yeah, I think. There's a player, Miss Votavova.
Miss Votavova.
Miss Votavova, the
She's
Queen
a
Bee.
crazy.
She's, I don't know, I think, she's played a lot of MTTs. I've played, I believe, against her in the Beat the Presenter slot.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoyed that. She could do well.
Yeah, no, she's not a bad. She's an aggressive player.
Yeah.
She's good.
She really is. I think there was only one hand where I managed to steal any of her blinds.
Do you think she got dumped recently?
Ouch.
Possibly. I don't know. She's playing like she...
Like a woman scorned.
Exactly.
Ouch. Well, she's getting a lot of love from the other players, so they adore her. She is the Queen V.
Very good.
That's what I call her anyways. I think she's, yes. I picture her dressed all in black with black hair and red lipstick and being quite a sort of a 1920s type of siren with a long cigarette holder. I have a really active imagination.
You do, yeah, because I've never once envisaged what anyone behind their name looks like.
Wow.
I mean, if they're typing abusive things in the chat box, I might... No, even then, not really.
No, I don't know. I sort of attach anthropomorphized images to each player. Like Nash Anubis, I do see a jackal-headed person, which obviously isn't true, because that just doesn't happen in real life. But Nash Anubis being the jackal-headed god of the Egyptians. Or Anubis.
Maybe he's got a very rare congenital sort of look about him.
And that's why he stays at home playing internet poker. You know what? Now it makes sense.
Could be.
Yeah.
Come on, Pango. King, Queen. Massive hand. 3 players behind you. Blind's just gone up. 3 times the big blind. Classic.
Very nice. And he's got double the average stack as well, because the average stack is around about 3,000.
Well, difficult for both of them. We might see check here. Daryl's Daryl's gone in for a little tickler. Pango might read this correctly, and that he hasn't got the ace. There it is. Nice bet. That might well work. And if it works, I'm full of admiration. It hasn't. Daryl's called. And now what? Has Pango got the code? He needs to push this through, because it's looking a bit scary. Daryl might be slow playing ace-king. The raise pre-flop didn't look like ace-king from Daryl. Normally ace-king would just call there in the small blind, I think, against a raise. Looking to see if an ace-king comes down. Now is the time to push it through, if he's going to do it. No. Didn't quite have the balls to do it. I think Daryl might have called anyway, so possibly a check there from Pango. Wise. We'll never know.
Wise indeed.
Well, it's good enough to stop Nash Anubis raising. Oops.
Oh boy.
Oh, a check here, mate. Boss might have a king.
How much can you get out of this? It's not bad.
Now raise, a proper raise. Hope he's caught the queen.
That's not a proper raise, is it? Should be.
I'd bet more than that, I think. Because I think if he's caught the king or the queen, he's going to pay more, and if he hasn't, he's not going to pay me anything.
Right, so it's not worth doing a itsy-bitsy. Nicely done, jackal-headed god.
Yes. You devil, you. So, we've got an outbreak of the minimum raises from the boss here with weak aces. He's got his flush draw. He's dominating Daryl by 1 pip. His kicker 1 pip above Daryl's. So the flush draw is what it's all about. And it'll be split with a 4. Otherwise the pot will be awarded to one of them or the other. Boss catches the 8. I would still be inclined to check this because I don't think I'm going to get called by a worse hand. Might put in a tickler, but the choice with a tickler bet is it might encourage my opponent to bet at me, and then I don't want to face a difficult decision. Has he got it or is he bluffing? I think Nash is going to come in with this?
I don't know. He might just, limp in and see what happens on the flop.
No.
No.
And I love that fold.
Yeah?
And the reason why is this is a tournament, and ace-7, he's basically got to make 2 pair. And his chance of making two pair is 49 to 1 against.
Oh.
And he just doesn't have enough chips to justify that when the blind's 25-50. And again, it's a leak to play that hand there for a limp.
Yeah.
I'm quite certain of that. You need to have a lot of chips to justify that. And even then, ace-7. When you make two pair with an ace, you're much more likely to be up against two pair than when you make two pair with, say, a king, because people are more likely to play with an ace. So you've got ace-jack out there, and the ace flop comes down ace-7 rag, and then the turn card is a jack, and now you're in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah, I can see how that works. It can be difficult when you see everyone else limping in and you've got an ace,
Yeah.
or even a king, and think, well, you know, I could just see what happens because, you know, a lot of people are putting into the pot. It might be a nice... No. Just
Yeah.
in the long run, over a year, you're saying it's just going to be a hemorrhage of chips.
I think so. Unless, I mean, fine if you can pick up pots by bluffing with it, but if you're going to bluff, to be honest, I'd rather have a different hand. Trouble is with ace-7 is in a five-way pot. When you catch an ace, realistically, you're going to have to fold a lot of the time, people, when they bet. So you're calling the make two pair, and just remember that, folks, 49 to 1. 49 to 1 to hit that.
Really?
So it's just not going to happen often enough.
I'm going to write that down. That's good. I was having a lot of difficulty with odds today. I was out at the Brighton races. It was the first day of the races. I didn't win a thing.
Oh.
I kept going for the underdog because I just feel like they should win. And they just never do. So yeah, I think my knowledge of odds is somewhat lacking.
Don't bet on a 49 to 1 shot.
I know, but he had a great name.
I'm the same. Do you remember a few years ago there was a horse called Royal Joint? I think
yeah.
the whole nation bet on him, and he fell out the third fence in the National and had to be shot.
Oh, that's awful. That's awful. Oh, well, no horses fell in this race. There aren't any, no fences to jump.
Sometimes I fall over walking along pavements, Kara. So.
Sometimes I do. But a lovely day out nonetheless. Ooh, ace king there in the small blind. How do you play that then? You're going to just...
Well, I think I'm ahead here, so for that reason I'm going to raise.
Yeah.
And I'll only catch an ace or a
Yeah.
king on a flop about a third of the time, but I'll probably see the turn card for free if I've raised. So it's looking quite sunny. Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. 7-8 offsuit there by Skitsy just wasn't going to hold up to a nice big raise.
Nah, you've got to be Mark Bannon to play that hand.
I tried to do it a couple of times, but I don't have his panache.
You've got to be Mark Bannon.
I think you do. I don't think I play it with enough conviction, and therefore it doesn't work for me.
Pango got involved with Darrell a minute ago and came out the wrong end, but he's dusted himself off and back to his stealing ways. Stealing schmealing, he says. I had a huge hand, probably ahead. Well, he was. There's King 10 in mid-position there, Kara.
Oh my goodness. Oh, how painful. No, I went through it with Nick on the show a couple of nights ago, the whole King 10 in mid-position, especially when you're short stacked. And I think it is something that I might do again, but I've been burned so badly by it. It's not going to be soon.
So tell me about this. You had 5 big blinds, you say. And go,
Yeah.
and you went all in as you would if you're going to bet,
Yeah.
with King 10 off suit?
No, I think it was on suit. A King 10
Oh,
suited.
that's a bit of difference.
I'm pretty sure it was suited.
And do you remember the temperament of the guy who was in the big blind? Was he a caller or was he a man who respects a lady's raise?
You know what? I don't recall. I'm afraid I don't recall. But it was the person who followed me directly that had the queen, so...
Yeah, nothing you
Ouch.
can do about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure I'd do it again, unless the feeling at the table was a bit different, and I felt like it. You're right, that someone would put that down, put their hands down. See, I can't even talk about it coherently. Still, it's just. I'm
Kara is
scarred.
sobbing here.
I am. My makeup's running. It's ugly. Moving
I mean,
on.
what I prefer to do in that situation with 5 big blinds, I think. Yeah, King 10. I mean,
Really? You
ideally, I'd probably let the button go past and then try and nick from position.
Okay.
But that's
Yeah.
a gamble because
Yeah.
if you let the button go past and then the next 2 hands, when the button's gone past, other people come into the pot before you, you can't play. So then suddenly you're back in mid-position again, with less chips, and this time you will have to go with King 10. So I don't think you should have got the slagging off you did, Kira, really.
Okay.
If it's suited, I think that probably certainly tips it for me.
Yeah, now I'm starting to wonder if it was suited or if that's just my own little fantasy.
Ah, well.
It probably wasn't, now that I think about it. But anyways, I did learn a lot from it, and I think, because I believe it was Buffy Be Good, actually, who emailed in and said, yeah, stop going on about the King 10, think about why you were short-stacked in the first place. And that is very good advice.
Well, yes and no, but it might not have been your fault, of course. So
I suppose so.
I'll tell you what, if this makes you feel better, Kara, I went out of a comp on Friday with 10-3 suited.
Really?
From mid to early position, yeah.
Okay.
Because I had 4.5 big blinds and I just wasn't prepared to watch the button go by me. So I moved.
Yeah.
Got called by Ace King and that was that.
Oh, you just cannot plan for that.
No.
No, no indeed.
Folds. And Beth, you've got to bet more than that. It's just too easy for the big blind to call. And on this occasion, Pango folds, but a lot of the time people will call for a minimum raise, but they'll fold for 3 times the big blind raise. The odds are substantially different for them. Whereas Beth G is only investing another 50. I think it was too small.
So it's worth the chips to ask that kind of question as well, isn't it? This is something I need to be a little less tight with my chips. Ask the question, respect the answer, but definitely ask the question with a big enough raise. Ooh, King 10 again. It mocks me. Look how it mocks me.
It does.
I see it everywhere now.
But he's in the big blind, so it's not his fault when he gets involved and does all his chips.
Absolutely, and it's suited. So
And it's suited.
It's a different thing.
Now the question is, King Queen going to raise here? Because against a limper, King Queen's not sure where he is. He could be behind, he could be ahead. He's probably not up against Ace King or Ace Queen, and that's a crucial factor there, because those are the hands that King Queen dreads. He's raised, and I think that's a perfectly reasonable thing to do. And now it's very cheap to call. He's getting 10-1 to draw to what is a 5-1 shot, a 3-1 shot rather, by the river to catch one of those 2 overcards. And he's taken an active view and representing an overpair there. He's trying to persuade Nash Anubis. He's got a pair of 9s, pair of 10s.
Oh boy. And Nash has got 2 pair.
Wow.
Oh boy.
But Nash has made a massive overbet, and I don't understand why, because if Pango has got an overpair, the only outs he's got is 2 to make trips and the deuce or the 4 coming. He's not got a massive draw. 8 outs, I think Nash could have tempted him in there. Interesting. He didn't want to put his tournament life on the line, I think. But look at that. That's a scared bet there, Carey's. Nash Anubis has put in well over a pot-sized bet and pushed Pango out. Sometimes you just got to say, well, this is a hand that I'm prepared to go broke on. If I raise all in, he's going to fold a loser. But if I check, he might bluff me. And if he gets lucky on the river, good luck to him. But you've got to be prepared to induce that bluff and pick up a few chips, because 2 pair doesn't come along that often in a tournament.
Yeah, and I imagine he wouldn't have put Pango on an overcard and one of the pairs on the board.
No way.
And even if he did, I mean, it's still only 1 pair, so...
Yeah. Oh well, he is still in. I mean, also there is a lot to be said for when it's a marginal situation, take the pot rather than getting greedy. But I just feel he was strong enough there against the likely holdings Pango had, which were either overcards and overpair or nothing. And, you know, Pango would have, I think, certainly bet a big overpair. He might well have bet nothing at all. And he might have come along at least for a smaller raise if he'd had a medium sort of overpair, pair of 10s, pair of jacks. So never mind, Nash is still in it.
Yeah, he is still in it. And we'll definitely be dipping in and out of this MTT all night and then watching the final table. So we'll be able to see if his strategy pays off for him tonight, and if he does make it down to the final. If indeed he will be coming into the studio as one of the revered elite.
Be interesting to see some of these players. And
yeah.
Miss Votrovova, whether she comes in with
a long cigarette
wolves,
holder.
pulling her in a sled.
I love it. That would be great. What a gimmick. I bet she'd get I bet she'd get lots of backers if she actually did that as a gimmick. That's fantastic. Nash, if you do come into the studio, could you wear your jackal head? Because seriously, I'd love that.
Look, the guy actually has a jackal head. Don't mock him. He's got no other option.
What if he wears a hat? Might not cover the ears entirely.
I tell you what, I bet dogs give off a lot of poker tails because those ears move a lot.
And the tail as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ace versus ace. Stato's got the best of it and keeps the best of it, but with 2 pair on the boards, it's all about the ace kicker.
All right, so there you go, the MTT for this hour. Hopefully you enjoyed that. Got a little bit of a taste of multi-table tournament action. Now, before we do go for the break, we are going to take a look at one of our emails. Now, we've got an email here from Andy, and Andy says, "Hi, Kara and Dr. Tom. Great show as always." Well, thank you very much. I got a question on a play I made in a no-limit cash game. It gets folded to me in the cutoff, and I raise 4 times the big blind with King 10 of hearts. Only the small blind calls, a decent and tricky player, and we both have quite deep stacks. The flop is Ace 10-3 with 1 heart, so I catch middle pair and a backdoor flush. It gets checked to me, so I bet half the pot, and then the small blind calls. The turn was a 5 of hearts, and again the small blind checks. Should I just check behind and get the free card, thereby almost shouting out that I don't have the ace? Or should I bet again? I was seriously in doubt, because if I get re-raised big, then I have to lay it down. What do you think? Very good question.
Great question. I think you should definitely take a free card there. I really do feel, as you say, that the small blind's a tricky player. You don't want to tangle with those players, preferably without the business. And yet, if they are tricky players and you make a big surprise hand, which a backdoor flush is, it's a terrific surprise hand, that's when you can really take those players to the cleaners, especially if they think you're being tricky. So I really think you should definitely take the free card there because of the flush potential, because he just can't read you. And there's a danger, of course, that if you bet at him on the turn, that he will raise and push you off your flush draw, and that would be very, very trying, because in fact he may have nothing. So take the free card.
There you go. Thanks very much for that, Andy. Now we have one more as well. Now this email is from Kate. Kate says, "Hi, Kara and Dr. Tom. Loving the show as usual, and it's good to have Dr. Tom back on our screens." I agree. Yeah, very nice to have you back. She says, "I hope Dr. Tom wasn't dissing Whitstable just then." As a resident, I have to say it's a fantastic place for a holiday, and it's soon to have a poker club too, so perhaps he'd like to come over and show us all how it's done. Nice.
Well,
Very nice.
if that's an invite, I'm on my way for sure. The donkeys are waiting.
That's what I was just going to say. Question is, I've been playing on the play money tables online for a few months now, and I'm about to step up to playing for real money. I should play, shall I only play for tiny stakes to start with? But I was wondering, what are the differences that I can expect? Keep up the great work on the show, and that's Kate from Whitstable. Oh, okay, so you're making that jump to real money.
Yeah, fine. I mean, up to you, Kate. If you've got loads of money, then go and sit down in a $100 tourney. But I mean, basically what you can expect is whatever level you're playing at, whatever level, even if it's some micro stakes, there is a huge difference in standard. Absolutely huge between the play money and the real. Basically, on the play money table, there will be maybe 3 or 4 people trying to play sensible poker, but they can't really, because in that milieu, which is a fancy word that Kara used earlier, so I thought I'd use it as well, just to show that she's not the only one with an education. When there are going to be 2 or 3 or even just one player there who goes mad on the play money, then that changes everyone's game. So basically expect a much, much more solid game at any level on the real money games, the sort of games you see on Poker Night Live. So if you're asking what should I expect, well, you see it on Poker Night Live.
Yeah, that's very good advice. Let us know how you get on as well, because it would be really nice to sort of track your progress through. It's always good to see how the regular viewers are doing. So yeah, let us know. Now we're going to go for a break, and when we come back, I'm going to be playing on the Beat the Presenter slot. So you're not going to want to miss that. You'll have Tom to yourself for an hour. We'll see you after the break. See you later. Hello and welcome back to Poker Night Live. This is the second hour of our Sunday night show, taking you into Monday morning. And you know what? It's not actually the end of the weekend because it's a bank holiday. So everyone all over the world is just like going, whew, thank goodness for that.
No school tomorrow, so hang on in there and watch Poker Night Live.
That's what we're saying. Pretty much that's what we're saying. Now for this hour, I'm going to be playing Beat the Presenter once I get into a table and all that sort of malarkey. But for now, I'm going to start with an email so I
Okay.
can send you a question to answer through the interweb, the magic of the interweb. Right, this is from Pete, aka Dinuts. Says, "Hi Tom and Kara, I have a feel-good story for Tom regarding 10-3 suited and a quick question regarding pot odds and drawing hands. I placed first in a 620 runner free roll a couple of days ago. Well done. First off, wow, well done. First out of 620, that's great. I played tight aggressive early doors and then trebled up via a few maniacs. I then played 3 out of 10 hands with position and raised pre-flop every hand I played. 80% of the time, it was folded to me. If I had a caller, it was only 1. So here is my pot odds question. I was following up by betting the pot on the flop to give them 1-to-1 odds to draw. Is the size of the bet good long-term poker strategy? I was mixing my game up if there was already a possible flush made. Now for the 10-3 for diamonds I played. Played the hand as above, pre-flop raise, flop the house, 3s over 10s. With 2 diamonds on the board, I slow played till he hit his flush, induced him to come over the top on the river by making a minimum bet, and cleared him out for about 20k. I had about 100k at the time, so was not risking my tournament life. Great to see you back, Dr. Tom. Love your poker mind and your deadpan humor. Ha 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 ha."
Thank you, Kara, and thank you, D-Nuts. They're not getting 1-to-1 odds to draw, though. They're getting 2-to-1. If you bet the pot in poker, then it's always going to be 2-to-1 is the odds to get into draw. Because you can never give them 1-to-1 odds if there's already money in the pot, because 1-to-1 is evens, and you could only give them even money if you were betting money into a pot that had nothing in it. But I think a pot size bet is fine, basically, and you see these sorts of pot size bets a lot in poker, and that's why there's a logic to pot limit poker, because it means that the maximum bet always gives your opponent some sort of odds to draw. So fine, and well done. I'm glad 10-3 suited worked out for you, and I'm sure it will for me one day, being the monster hand that it is.
There you go. Well, that's your email for the moment. We're going to go to a $10 sit and go while I try to get into a game myself.
Okay,
I leave you now.
okay.
Okay?
All right, well, she's leaving me. They always do eventually.
Oh,
So we're going
my heart
to, or I'm
bleeds.
going to go down solo to do a bit of commentating. Enjoy. Godspeed. Here I come. Well, there it is, a little sit and a go, and 1 seat empty. Blinds 20-40, and a whole bunch of people I don't know who don't mind me commentating on the game. So let's have a look at it. In a parallel universe, Kara is going to be sitting down in, and my tip to you, Kara, is to tell them what table it's going to be and what seat you're going to sit in, and then they'll leave it free for you. And if anyone else sits in it, then they'll give him hell.
Okay, well,
You're not going to play with your own money, are you?
no.
Play on Mark's account.
That's a terrible idea. I wouldn't want to make money in his account.
No, you wouldn't.
I need it in my
That's
own.
the last thing you'd need to do. That would be most galling. So at this stage in the game, everyone's been given 1,000 chips here. And with blinds 20-40, the average player has got 25 big blinds. So absolute no hurry. And I'm delighted to say that Great Scott is in, and she's sitting on table reds. What's the stakes, Kara?
This, I believe, is a $5 tournament.
$5, so go and cheer her on in the chat box. Or ask her for a date, whatever you want to do. Try and sell her a lawnmower. Back here, Modges takes this one. And few decisions here. In fact, Irid with deuce-deuce is facing the first decision. I don't actually mind the fold there. I think a call is exceptionally lame there with the deuces. I don't mind a raise, but it's not particularly a hand you'd raise with compared to any other hand. It's only about as good as raising with, I don't know, 8-7, 8-10. So if you don't fancy a raise for whatever reason, I absolutely don't mind a fold. You're going to find lots of other hands to steal with, apart from 2-2. Well, JWC catches a naff flush draw, and he just doesn't know where he is there. I think he's going to assume his 9s are ahead and that Modge hasn't caught a 10. So he takes the view there. If Modge has got a 10, then JWC has got some sort of flush escape hatch. Fold, I think, to JWC. He might well fancy a pop here with the ace-7. It all depends on the big blind. If he's happy to roll over and have his belly tickled, then why not nick the pot off him? That's what JWC does, and he picks up chips he'll need later when he goes card dead and he's got to play through blinds which are going up. Bendy Bear, lets it go. Well, 6-7 suited, early position, doesn't play well. Irid perfectly reasonably lets it go. And given that JWC is happy to raise with ace-10, I think Irid was quite right to let it go. When you've got a reasonably aggressive player on your left in the early stages as he sit and goes, you really just don't want to be limping in with drawing hands like that, because you'll just be raised by that player. Jacks, I think, will take this. Bendy Bear getting reasonably attractive odds, but suited queens, pretty evil. Pretty evil hands. Suited kings are bad enough, but at least with a suited king, some of the time you make your flush, it's going to be the nut flush, because the ace will be on the board. But your chance of making the nut flush with a suited queen is negligible. Now we're going to have a face-off here. It's going to move all in here. Near as damn it, and yeah, I don't think JWC is going to put down Queen King. Unfortunately for Irid, he's got the blockers for JWC straight. Only 2 jacks left in the deck, so his jacks hold up. JWC dented, Irid doubles through. Blinds currently 40-80. So, in fact, all these players now starting to get a bit short stacked with 7 players still left in. Nuggy Bug has thought a bit too long, I think, for a big move. Why not let it go? Well, that's what he does. Trebus has been very quiet, but Irid doesn't want to have a pop. Now, JWC in the big blind. Is anyone going to try and take it off him? My advice would be not to, and they are folding in droves. Tight play, 7-9 suited. Prime stealing hand, but is this the player you want to steal from? Well, 3-5 you might let it go. Many others he might not. And that's not a great hand to play, the unsuited weak ace in the small blind. You kind of feel like you should play it because it's an ace, but if you've got lots of chips, you're facing those reverse implied odds there that you don't want to be facing. When the ace comes down, you probably don't get paid unless your opponent's got an ace himself. Then you get a big pot, but you're the guy paying. Much better to have the ace on the button, playing from position. I'm sure I've bet here from JWC. How much? 160, 240? 160, making it cheap. It worked before. Might well work again. Suited king, getting tempting odds. Chooses not to. And the blind's now 80, 160, and they're massive, and we're going to see some exits, certainly before the next level of the blinds. Modges will be delighted to not have to defend his queen jack. He knows that if someone bets at him, they've probably got at least one overcard, ace or a king. So he'll be pleased not to have to fold there. And he'll be looking to move all in with the ace-jack, I think. Or move in for 500, which is enough to have Bendy Bear all in. Trebus might act first, so he might well attack Bendy Bear's big blind there. Bendy Bear's just got enough chips to fold. Mr. Trebus will be looking at Bendy Bear's stack. And Bendy Bear's in that prime, juicy position where he's got enough chips to throw his hand away, but he is the short stack, and that's the sort of guy you want to attack. Trebus decides not to. He has, of course, got 4 other players to get through before he puts Bendy Bear in the situation of whether he should fold his big blind or not. Modge will move though, and no point getting too fancy with this when his opponent's got so few chips. He does the right thing, looks to take the pot down there, or very possibly get called by a worse hand, which is also perfectly desirable. And it's a pretty tight table, this. Not many people making moves. And Bendigbay quite understandably there, just doesn't want to move with that hand. That's the hand he wants, Queen King, and he just hates the fact that JWC has come in before him and he's got to fold here. Call is, I think, almost certainly wrong. On this situation, knowing the hands, of course it's right, but that bet probably means an ace or a pair, and it might mean the dreaded ace-king or ace-queen, both of which have Bendigbay dominated, and he correctly folds there, given the information he had. But now he's in all sorts of trouble, because he's only got there 3 times the big blind. He's just got enough to make a big blind fold. But the longer he waits, of course, the earlier his position comes, and the more players he's betting through, and therefore the more likely it is that someone's got a calling hand there to call him with. So, not looking good for Bendigbay. Looking good for Tribus, though. He's got JWC betting into him with no hands, and Tribus looking to shut out JW there. Interesting. I think even though he's short stacked, he might have played that a bit slower, because there was no draw there for JWC apart from a gut shot with most hands that JWC might have. And on that occasion, JWC had considerably less. Come to a head, and now JWC, I think, is facing pot odds where he might have to call. Put in 600, 1400 is getting very attractive odds here. Well, he chooses not to. And it's true that by folding, he's now still got enough chips to play a bit. So a fold reasonable there. If he called and failed to double through, he would have only had about 400, 500 left, and would have difficulty making anyone fold. And there it is. By folding there against Foxy and not going for the sort of situation where he's probably getting pot odds to go in and would make money in the long run, he decides to conserve his chips because he thinks he can make money easier if he retains some sort of stack he can bully with. And there it is, he's got his chips back up immediately. And I think there's nothing wrong with an all-in move here. To be honest, if Snuggybug calls that, then you're probably committed for with ace-king. You can't risk folding to a bluff. Now, Cowboys for Tribus, he's been very patient. Will he get paid? He's making it cheap, and he's making it a bit too cheap for Bendigbay, who's getting 3-1 plus to call. Not now. But his hand is about 2-1 against the kings there, the suited ace. And he's come in, and I think that's very unwise, because we've got another player in the pot. Snuggybug's come in. Of course, Mr. Tribus might be at it, but when you get another player coming in to play with ace-3 suited is madness. You're certain to be a dog. Absolutely certain to be a dog. He's caught the ace, and the kings are looking a bit sickly there for Tribus. He only had the case-king left in the deck, so he got lucky. He got lucky there. There was a real danger. He was up against another ace and dominated. And now, to bet with the ace is absolutely fine there. And I think he's doing this topsy-turvy. He's folding there in the small blind when it's come all the way around to him, and his ace is probably ahead. Never mind the steal, it's probably ahead. But to call with it is bonkers. Remember the gap concept, folks. You need a much stronger hand to call with than to bet with. And the reason is that to call, it's got to win the pot. Got to win the pot by being the best hand. But if you bet with it, you can push your opponents out so their hand, which might well have been the best hand by the river, never gets to see the river. Top pair for Snuggybug, 800 in the pot. And no point getting too fancy. He should just bet this, I think. in case Trebus is sitting with something like a 3 or a 9. He's in the big blind. He could have either hand and still check it, and Snuggy Bug shouldn't give him a free draw to 2 surprise pair. So there it is, in it goes, and he'll take it down there. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Suited connectors in the blinds. Who's going to make a move? And Trebus there is in an interesting situation with 10-9. I think this is good for all my money. I don't expect to see JWC fold. I'm assuming that everyone else, if everyone else folds rather, I think 10-9 is probably just good enough for my money because it's a better than average hand. I've already got 160 in the pot, and it is just possible that JWC might fold. If Trebus is paying attention, he'll have seen JWC fold in a situation where it looked like he might be pot committed, and know therefore that JWC is capable of putting down a hand. And Trebus tried to get a look at the flop cheap, and it's worked out very nicely for him because he's in fact induced the bet from JWC, but that's quite a fortunate result. And he's taken the pot down. Yeah, that's one option I hadn't considered there. I was going to say that the worst of the 3 options, folding, calling and raising, was calling. But he did manage to induce the bet there from JWC, which wasn't terribly wise because I think Trebus was of course going to call then. Having called, he had some sort of hand in the small blind. If he'd had nothing, he'd have folded or raised. So I think JWC rather unwisely moved there because Trebus probably had his suited connectors beat. He's all in now with 10-3 offsuit, terrible hand, needs to be suited. And needs to make it straight, or the 10. And 3 is no good, gives 2 pair to Foxy Lady. So we have finally lost a player. And blinds at 163.20, they're all pretty much still where they were in terms of stack size. The stack sizes here are tiny. People here mostly with about 3 or 4 big blinds or fewer. Absolutely tiny. So I think we're going to find ourselves in the money situation very quickly. 3 players, of course, take home that prize money. And that pair of 4s, I think it's probably good for all my chips there. Foxy lets it go. It's a bit marginal, not a great hand, but it's probably good for all my chips. When I'm sitting with 5 big blinds, kind of run out of options. Difficult for the 7s here. He's decided to call, and it's in the situation quite a good one because they've only got 3 cards between them. So Bended Bear will be getting odds to enter that pot. You don't want to come in with a pocket pair and find that your opponents have got 2 quite separate overcards because then you're trying to make your 7s stand up against 4 live cards. Difficult now though. Bendy Bear needs to make a house, and that's no good. It's a wrong pair. Bendy Bear makes a 3 pair, which is not a legitimate poker hand. Modges makes a flush, which is. And a clear all move. I quite like the dwell up here because Snuggy Bug by dwelling up might well induce a call from a really raggy hand. On the other hand, with only 790, the amount he gets paid for the risk of letting someone see the flop is probably not worth it. And now he's in trouble. Snuggy Bug got a lot of work to do, and now he's dead. 2 pair is going to take this. And Snuggy Bug is left with 60 chips. And a miracle might happen where he creeps into the money because 3 players get knocked out, but it's really very unlikely. He's going to have to chuck in those chips in 2 hands when he finds himself in the big blind. Sadly, even if he doubles through, he'll then have to chuck all his chips in on the next hand just to satisfy the small blind. In it goes with ace-9. Jack-Queen may have been feeling about a steal. I don't like the call that much. This really is a fold or raise time at this stage in the tournament, and once Snuggy Bug has come in and gone all in, there's no fold equity for Modges. He has to make the pot a winner by winning. So I don't like that call much. Not in bad shape now though. Got the middle pair and the flush draw. He is ahead. And realistically, Modgers can read Foxy for not having a king. Foxy would almost certainly bet the king in this sort of situation where the pot's already big, so he can think he's ahead. Doesn't know what Snuggybug has got, but there's a side pot, so even if Snuggybug wins, Modgers still gets a big side pot because all of Foxy's big blind was in there, and Snuggybug had only snaffled away 60 of that into the main pot. Irid all in, and Modgers holding a hand just bad enough to give it to Irid, and Irid won't mind that fold at all. Oh, tens, in it goes again. No ifs, no buts, fold, fold, fold. None of those hands are calling hands, and Irid suddenly is relatively chipped up, and that's how it is at this stage in the sit and go. If you can take two pots, even if no one calls, the blinds are so big that suddenly you can find yourself chip leader or second place in the case of Irid. Bendy Bear probably going to have to let it go, unfortunately. It's a bit annoying to lay down Jack King. It's the hand he would have wanted to bet. But it's quite a different situation calling, and I think he could have let that go. Trebus has played a tight game. No guarantee that Jack King was ahead. He needs to catch the straight. That's not it. Bendy Bear out. 4 players left in. And we're at the bubble. And it looks like Foxy here is going to get the pressure put on him. Trebus should bet here. The only logic I can understand there, if Mr. Trebus is planning the bet to bet the flop, whatever happens, I don't mind it. But with a king, he's almost certainly ahead of Foxy. Foxy pretty much must call in the big blind. So it's a clear situation to get your opponent to call with a worse hand. And Foxy takes it down. Now what? Modgers just got enough chips to lay down. Foxy got enough chips to lay down. 6-9, a terrible hand. I guess he can fold. Perhaps Trebus there. It's a tactical fold because next hand Irid will be effectively all in on the big blind. And Trebus, if he picks up filth, can fold and let someone else attack Irid's big blind. Let Modgers, for example, or Foxy attack it. Yeah, Modgers being the second smallest stack really has to go there. He can't afford to let Irid get away picking up his own big blind with a walk. So Modgers knows it's between them. And he'll be delighted. Everyone else will be pleased to see a man go. So they're all in the money. Looking for a call? I'm sure he'll get one with an ace. Foxy's already got a quarter of a chips in there and probably ahead with the ace. No guarantee of it, but probably ahead. So I think correct to play there. Don't know why Trebus is slow rolling these kings. It's a bit naughty. Looking for a 5 or an ace. 5 outs for Foxy. Quite the reverse. Trebus makes trips. Foxy's out. Trebus chipped up. But with blinds at 326.40, it can quickly go the other way. Modgers, I think, will fold, and now Trebus has not picked up the hand he wanted to put pressure on with, lets it go, and it is basically at this point in the tournament all about the luck of the cards. Yeah, Modgers picks up a big enough hand to bet there. Certainly 2 court cards is huge in this situation, and Trebus is cursing the deck. He's going to have to let that one go too, and he does. I'll be delighted with the walk there because he was planning to fold that if he was bet at. All blinds have doubled again. And Trebus has got to fold. He knows Modgers is going to call because he's so deep in. And this is it. Modgers a long way ahead here, better than 3-1, or around about 3-1 rather. Oh, Trebus catches a jack, Modges catches a queen, Trebus catches a jack. This is amazing, but there's a flush draw for Modges. What an unbelievable finale. Look at that. It's quite remarkable. That really is quite remarkable. Well, the best hand took it, but look at that. Huge domination there before the flop. And let's just rewind to the previous hand and go into this, get a run-up. Oh, this is a new hand. I take it all back. And they're still in there. I thought Modges had taken it down there. Still back in the game. Beg your pardon. And it... Oh, there's a flush. Trebus goes out with a bizarre, bizarre final few hands there. Cracking stuff. Cracking stuff, Gromit. Well, there it was. Thrilling thrills and spills. Kara's still grinding out a living, to my right here. Making even less than I'm making commentating on this show, as far as I can tell.
Toiling away, toiling away.
But so we're going to take you to a 25-cent, 50-cent cash game. So back we are. Scab, Dean, Lurch. Scab and Lurch. What a fine pair they make. Scab, Lurch, Folly and Nobody. Do you ever get the feeling poker players might be a bit depressed?
Yeah, they spend too much time on their own, maybe that's it.
Yeah, it's not healthy. Every now and then, folks, just get a bit of sun on your face. Not too much, of course. Causes all that cross linkage. Straight forward. And takes it down. So our big stack still lurching onwards and upwards. The maximum sit down is $50. So with $175 there, the boy is doing all right. Cowboys in the small blind, ace 10 in the big blind. Jack Queen might fancy a pop. I think we're going to have a pot shaping up here. Jack Queen kicks it off. Now what did the kings do? If you raise in the small blind, you pretty much announce a very strong hand. So I don't mind the call there. And I would be inclined to check here because Dean P will bet an overpair that's worse than kings but better than nines. He will very possibly bet ace king, ace queen. So every reason to expect Dean P to bet. And I love the little back raise from SG because it looks like he's saying to Dean P, have you got ace king? And if that's the case, Dean P will come back at him if he's got a pocket pair. In fact, Dean P's got nothing and I'm not sure why he's in the pot. Now he may want to bluff that ace. And, well, SG goes for the value bet there, gets paid. Courtesy of the jack on the river. Anyone fancy a pot? Nope. Just a limp. Just a limp. It's okay to limp in early position with a pocket pair, but it's got to be the sort of game where rarely there is pre-flop raising. If pre-flop raises are likely, limping with a pair of twos early is just not tenable. It's a leak. It's a leak for sure. Now, however, with so many chips, for the implied odds, the deuces aren't in terrible shape. Certainly if Scab comes in, I still think probably a fold is expectation play. Don't forget you don't always get paid when you make those trips. Let's see what he does when Scab makes up his mind. Let's it go. Nine's still ahead at the moment. And takes it down. Not much there.
Queen King is about the best of it. And, well, Queen King now facing the limpers decides to limp, and that lets the threes in. And the pot now could go to anyone. The Ace 4 is probably going to be a bit worried about that 3 cards there. I think someone's caught something. In fact, the pair of threes still got the pair it started with. Queen doesn't help anyone. Oh, beg its pardon. Scab, it helps slightly. Gives him the best hand. I need help here, Kara. I'm missing all sorts of stuff.
I'm sure I'll be back soon.
Oh, don't say that. Don't say that. And King Queen. Absolutely massive hand here for Scab. Tricky hand to play. And on that occasion, takes it down. Ace 8 off, worth a pop. Yep, 3 times a big blind. Ooh, OJP lets it go. Very wise, I think. Lots of players would see that 5-8 and say, well, it's suited and sort of connecting. There's quite a lot of distance between a 5 and an 8. Don't forget that. 5-8 and 7-8 can both make straights, but 5-8 can much, much more easily make a straight. So those gaps, they make a big difference. And if you only play absolute adjacent connectors, then that's not a bad cut-off point, because you've got to have some sort of standards with starting hands. Minimum raise there. It's a blocking raise from Jack King there. He wants to see the flop with his suited Jack King. He thinks if he puts in a minimum raise, he's less likely to be raised than if he just calls. And the suited cards, he's wise to try and slow down the action. That's what you want to do with suited cards, because if you're going to make a flush, it needs time to develop. But he's caught the Jack. And I think he can read himself as ahead here. He might well feel that Ace-Jack would have raised. And I like the bet, because furthermore, Queen-Jack, 10-Jack are sorts of hands that might limp in after him, and of course he's dominating them, so I like the bet. And he takes it down. And this could be folded all the way around. Queen 10 off? Well, yeah, Dean P feels it's time to make some sort of dent on the game, a bit like I'm doing with the hardware, and takes it down. Well, it'd be rude not to raise with Queen Jack suited when it's folded round to you. It'd be like biting the hand that feeds you. So let's have a little 150 lurch. Or 2 will do. Afraid you've chosen a bad time to do it. Now, it's probably going to raise to find out where he is, or call and check to see if the flop is going to bring an ace or a king. Oh, well, it brings both. And that should slow both of them down. Lurch will be worried here. Oh, he's not worried about anything. I was going to say he might be worried there that Folly's slow playing something. Folly's play was certainly consistent with ace-king or ace-queen. Lurch looking to find out where he was, and pushes Folly off the better hand. There for anyone who takes it. And it's a real drama. Watching Kara play poker, I can tell you. No poker faces here. She's counting out things on her fingers, swearing under her breath, jigging her feet up and down.
Oh, don't give away all my secrets.
No, I'm not saying the filthy playing.
Ooh. Ooh.
Jack again. Nobody's got Jack at this table. Got a feeling that Jake might run and run. And we're going to have a pot here. 75 cents in, but it's going to be considerably bigger. There's the raise. Now, does nobody find out where he is with a re-raise? I mean, it looks suspicious as hell. And because Folly knows his bet looks suspicious, he's going to read any attack on him as possibly being just based on that player thinking Folly's at it. And there's the bet from the Jackson. That will probably push Folly out. It takes a brave person to decide that they can push nobody around there, and Folly lets it go. And there are the kings for Scab. Fours have come in. Now, to limp or to raise. I think a raise is in order here because it might well be read as just a punishing raise. Irid might think, oh dear, that's crazy. I mean, kings have got a lot of value, and they've got a lot of value in trapping opponents. Queens are a bit more iffy, but kings, if the ace doesn't come down, you're almost certainly ahead, and there's a good chance someone will catch an undercard and make a reasonable sized pair. If they catch a queen or a jack and it's the top card on the board, you've got your kings there, your hand is pretty much invisible. Why throw away such a lovely situation? I hate the move from Scab. And they just don't come around often enough to overplay them like that. However, he's got Queen King, and having made that big move, he might now get interest with what is the best hand here, if he bets on the button. Well, the privilege of representing the ace falls to Scab. And that's the thing about Queen King, is that you can catch a queen or a king, and if you bet it before the flop, you can catch an ace and often take it down by representing that. Now what? Possibility that OJP is trap checking with a 9, but it's not that likely. When there are 2 on the board, Scab bets, takes it cheaply. Well played. And is he going to go third time lucky with King Jack off? I think I'd be inclined to let it go after all that action. Call me a wuss.
You're a wuss? Sorry, I missed the rest of that.
Let's see, if Scab is a wuss. No, he's not. Puts in the standard raise, and he's going to take it down. Could be a walk for Irid. And we're seeing lots of ace-kings. And this situation, not that uncommon. Ace-king versus ace-queen. Well, 8-7 might fancy it. I don't think it's a very wise call, but he correctly folds, and no horror stories here. AJP is called his king, so he's ahead, and Folly can let it go. And we've got a very, very even distribution of chips here. Basically, everyone apart from Lurch is pretty much around the starting stack of 50, if that's what they started with, and Lurch up there with a massive 170. I wonder if he's going to top 200 before the end of the evening. Ladies now, for Scab. In the big blind, that's very nice. It's nice to pick up a big pair in the big blind because you feel the pinch of poor position, much less if you've got a big pair. But on that occasion, makes an out from it. Just his own big blind and the small blind. Oh, a limp there with the suited king. That's a loose plate. More leakage. Difficult to make that a winner. And we're going to see a four-way flop. Down it comes. Wow, Dean P flops top two. And a couple of players there with a straight draw. He does need to protect this with a bet. Absolutely, with a huge straight draw there and possible flush draw. And possibly things like ace-10 drawing to two pair. And of course, if he bets, people might put him on a draw and defend a weak hand, or they might put him on a draw and decide to semi-bluff their draw, as OJP is doing. So only absolute beginners would think it appropriate to trap check with two pair on that flop. Two pair's a big hand, but you've got to look at the flop and say, is it appropriate to trap here? And the answer is no, and he's been outdrawn, unfortunately. But he's got outs. He can catch a jack or a queen for a full house, or indeed a king to split it. But he's not getting odds there. Oh, no, wait. And that's a timely bet from OJP, who knows that his straight is not at all robust. And Dean P correctly makes a very disciplined fold down. That's well played, and he saved himself $13 there. Diamond's no good for Snap It, who's arrived on our radar. And we saw Snap It make a very good continent call with a flush recently when his opponent made a bigger flush. More suited cards for the man. But I think it's going to fall to Dean P to put in a steal. Here it comes. Wow. I've had my attention gripped by what's happening to my right. And I think Kara was robbed. She is starting to look a bit like Tom Cruise on Minority Report, though. You know, where he's waving his hands around in midair. Kara's trying to induce actions from her opponents. But she doesn't have Tom's backup. It's a tragic business, poker. Sometimes. That's all I can say. Kara, come back, please.
Okay.
Got another show to go to.
Right. I'm gonna wipe my tears.
Look what you've done to her, Peter Hooch. I hope you're happy now. Oh, well.
All I can say is, seriously, watch the feed and then tell me how I did, based on the hands that I had.
Okay. I only saw the exit, Kara. I was a bit surprised when the cards came over, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, well, we'll see. Back here on this little cashy game. Fairly stable. By no means a mad table, this one. And a fairly sensible amounts of raising and calling going on. So a relatively tough table. Scab with the sevens, mid position, decides to play them aggressively rather than passively, comes in with a raise, and that should take it down. And there are the ladies again, up against Ace King. Classic confrontation.
Lucky, lucky ladies.
And Jack Queen rather forlorn in this coup.
Best thing about it is the hearts. And Lurch now got quite a few outs, 10 outs, 3 aces, 3 kings, and 4 deuces. And now the club draw, and there it is. Oh, danger, danger, because SG's also got a supplies flush and can't really avoid that situation, and now in trouble. And Lurch has won a big old pot there, and I said he might well top 200 before the end of the show. He's done it before the second break. Lovely, lovely. Lurch playing deceptively there. The minimum raise there with the ace-queen. He's got a caller, he's dominating. Might get a call from nobody, who's also dominated. And Scab comes in. Oh, lovely.
Ooh, wow.
Wow. Surely time to trap check this, I think.
Mm.
Yeah, a nice trap check there from Lurch, because what he's representing is fear that someone else has as a queen. So the way it's worked here is he's given someone a chance to represent the queen when he's got it himself. He's sprung the chap quite early there.
Ooh.
Worried about the club maybe. There it is, but SG's all in. So. Oh, it's chop chop. 2 on the end gives them both a full house.
Ah. There you go. Right. Ace 10 there. Against Queen, Queen.
Ladies, we're seeing lots of them. Is he going to price it right to keep ace 10 in? Does he want ace 10 in? Let's see. I can let that one go, Kara. Don't know about you. Yeah.
I could let it go.
SG's played a fairly tight game. Oh, well, Scab's caught the under pair. And does he bet to find out where he is? Something to be said for it here. He checks, and now he doesn't know if SG's bluffing or not. Ah, well. Not too hard to call. I think I call that. Because that's the end of it. SG's got no more chips. Oh, good fold.
Ah, there we go.
Still, if you're going to call with ace 10 and then fold against when you make your 10, I mean, what's the logic? Able to flop a straight?
Yeah, I suppose so. Maybe he was hoping to hit the ace instead. But then someone else might have an ace as well if they've come into...
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
So...
See, these things seem so simple when you can see all the cards. Not so much when all you can see are your own. Ah, well.
Oh, well.
Right. As I'm a little depressed, let's just go to an email.
Okay.
Right.
So what's the point, Kara? Because, you know...
What's the point in anything?
I know.
So, anyways, right. Email from Sally, a.k.a. the SAS.
Oh, right.
Soldiering on. Hi guys, the SAS here. I listened to the debate regarding the King 10 and I took the advice on board. I made a move in a similar position with pocket fives and I got called with ace jack off. They caught me on, and they caught the ace on the river. I know I lost, but I still think it was a correct move.
So do you think the debate she's talking about here is the debate where you moved all
Yeah.
in, or the geezer with the King 10 where I said he should have got a free card?
Oh, I don't know. I'm thinking it's
think
probably
it's
the
yours.
King, because yeah, we've been talking about it for a few days now. It's kind of running and running. This
Okay,
one.
so you lost, but it wasn't your fault.
Well, no, other people keep bringing it up.
Okay.
I'm letting it go.
Well, we've got a new bad beat story now. So I think Sally was on the Poker Bowl not so long ago.
Okay.
SAS Sally, and she rocked. She did take an early bath, but
Yeah.
she played, shall we say, with panache.
Panache.
Yeah. She did a lot of betting,
Okay.
and she had 5 men cowering before her.
Really? Well done. I gotta say, that's not so bad.
But I must say, I think the pocket fives were one of the better hands you played, Sally. So
Huh.
possibly a little on the loose side.
Okay, it's nice to see lots more females coming into this. We've got quite a few now, and I think that's rather fantastic. But you know what? You're saying that about bad beat stories, and I understand bad beat stories are bad, but there's something to be learned from them. If you've been beaten, you should really understand why you've been beaten, and if it was the wrong thing to do, then don't do it again. If it was the right thing to do, then stop feeling bad about it. So that's why we've been going on about it, just so you know. I'm not just, flailing away at myself. Anyways.
Castigation Night Live will be starting next Sunday.
Yeah, but for now, we're going to be heading to a break, and we'll be back after the break with the Beat the Presenter and taking a look at more stuff as well. So stay tuned. We'll be back. Hello and welcome back to Poker Night Live. We're here for the third hour now. We're taking you all the way into early Monday morning. That's a bank holiday Monday, so don't worry. If you are still awake, you don't have to get up for work tomorrow. Well, probably, anyways. I don't.
Me neither.
Well, there you go. So we're on here for another couple hours. You should stay put and watch. Now, we've got a few emails to take a look at, and then we're going to watch a little bit of the Beat the Presenter slot. I'd say I'm going to give nothing away about how that went, but the tears before the break might have just tipped a few people off. That's all I'm saying. Right, here's an email from Balor5. Balor5 says, hello guys, played the single table tournament this evening and made quad nines. And the next hand, I made quad aces. What are the odds of that? I have no idea. I've been playing for 6 months now, starting out very aggressive and getting nowhere. Great tips from the show have changed my game, and now I'm showing a nice profit. Keep up the good work. Well, thanks very much, Balor5, and you as well. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, well done. I hope the profit isn't entirely based on your quads, because that's not going to happen too often, but best of luck.
Yeah, there you go. And I believe we have another sort of what are the odds of that kind of question. And that is from King Whip. And King Whip was in the chat box while I was doing the Beat the Presenter as well, trying to distract me, I might add, and, you know, naughty, naughty. Here we go. In multi-table tournament, this is his story here. In a multi-table tournament, I had the ace and 9 of spades. I raised 120 pre-flop. I got a caller. The flop came, the ace of hearts, the 9 of clubs, the 3 of spades. I bet 240. I got called. The turn came, 9 of hearts. Went all in, got called. Another player showed the ace, king. The river came, 9 of diamonds. What are the odds of that? Again, I have no idea. And also, why is the river called the river and not the last card? We can call it the last card.
I've no idea about that either, I'm afraid. We're completely clueless here on Poker Night Live. Don't know anything about odds or terminology. But we do get asked that question a lot. Why is the river card called the river? And no one really knows. I mean, people say, well, because it can sink you, or poker used to be played on riverboats. But I mean,
that was going to be my thought.
I mean, what does that got to do with the last card? You know, did they only deal the last card on a riverboat and play all the others on land? I mean, it makes no sense, does it? So it's that and the odds of quads, basically. Not that we're saying you're unoriginal, King Whip. Far from it, but we don't know. Sorry.
Sorry. So that's the simple answer there. But you can go away and do the research and let us know if you like. That's always advisable, and then you can email us back here at the show. Anyone else with any questions and comments can let us know as well, and there's a couple of ways of getting in touch with us here in the studio. The first one is to text us, and you write the word poker in your text, send that to 84222 and add your question. That is the first way, and the second way is to send us an email. Send the email to poker@pokernightlive.co.uk, and there you go. Right, so that's how you get in touch with us. Do watch the next segment, and if you have any, comments on my play, feel free. Feel free. I'm pulling knives out of my back all night, and you might just want to get in there as well. So I think we may be ready to watch that now.
I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, me too.
So it's Great Scott. There she is in seat 2.
Yeah, this is the second game I played. Let's make it very clear. I did play one before, and I went out 7th. And I was trying a few different things. I was trying a few steals, like I discussed with a couple of the other commentators, because it's been mentioned that I get so short-stacked because my starting standards are way too high. And so I'm ending up short-stacked. I'm only playing premium hands. I should try to steal, make a few chips. I've decided to start doing that.
Who told you this, Mark?
A few of the commentators, actually. Yeah, and some of the viewers as well were emailing in saying, you are quite short-stacked normally. By the end of the tournament, you need to address this. Yes, I do. And I just did. I'm on the dealer button. Someone's called, but they've only limped in. I'm trying to do what was called the limper scooper move, as someone coined it the other night. And I've not hit the flop.
So I think they'll probably read you there for 2 overcards. I'm surprised no one's bet at you.
I should have bet there. I should have bet there, and I didn't. I was scared. I was feeling a bit burned, and I should have
You might have got a call from Folly. If Folly reads you for 2 overcards, he's probably going to call you and see if you decide to shut up shop on the turn. So there's no guarantee that you didn't save yourself money there. Bye.
Okay. Well, I let it go.
You let it go.
I asked the question. I let it go. Well, I didn't really ask the question. I didn't bet again. But anyways.
You silently mouthed a question.
Yes. Yeah. And I heard the answer loud and clear, so I stepped out.
So do you know anything about any of these players, Kara, before you start playing?
Not a huge amount. Not about their playing style, at the very least. So.
Just about their personal lives.
Kind of, yeah. I know that Gimboy doesn't like to be called Gimmelled.
Okay.
That's pretty much all I know about him. Yeah, that pretty much does it.
And do you, out of interest, do you have a sort of tournament strategy here in terms of when you're going to acquire chips?
Well, I was thinking to myself, when you're in position, if you've got suited connectors or you've got something that you can go in with and try to steal the blinds, then do it. Because I need to start making chips early in the tournament, because I never do. I always have incredibly strong starting standards and therefore hardly ever play. And every once in a while when I do play, I get outdrawn or something, even with, king. So I was trying to wait for the right position, make a few chips early on. That was my thought.
You see, the alternative is the hoof-hearted school, where he really doesn't do much stealing at all, and he starts moving when the blinds get reasonably big, 40, 80, 80, 160 in fact often, and then he makes a big steal, sometimes for all his chips. And I think his logic, and mine when I choose to play like that, is that in a sit and go where you don't know the opponents, often there'll be one calling station there, and he just likes to call. And you just don't want to steal in that sort of milieu,
Yes.
Kara. So it all depends. I mean, either is fine. I know Mark, for example, is quite happy to steal early. I think I'm probably at the other end. I'm quite happy to let them go early.
Okay.
Until I found out a bit more about who the calling stations are.
That's fair enough as well. I mean, 30 chips to steal the blinds isn't a huge amount. I mean, it's not.
No.
I'm not going to turn my nose up at it or anything, but I suppose it's maybe not worth the chips I'm putting down.
Maybe, but then it does give you the right table image that if you're betting a lot, then you're going to get looked up when you put a big hand.
Yeah, I
And I suppose Hoofy's reply would be, maybe I'm completely misrepresenting here, but if you've got a really tight table image, which is the other way of doing it, then when you put in that steal when the blinds are considerable, you actually win back very quickly with 2 of those in a row and more what you've lost. So you're at least treading water, and you may pick up a big hand and still get paid.
I find it difficult to limp in. This is one of the problems I'd had before, and I'd spoken to one of the other commentators about it. Every time I try to limp in and just see a flop with, big suited connectors or whatever, I get called. People do not
Called
trust
or
me.
raised?
Raised, actually, usually raised. I get raised.
You want to be called, you don't want to be raised.
Yeah, and it's just.
Just stop limping, Kara.
I know. So I've decided to stop limping and start stealing, which is not working for me any better. I gotta say, I'm keen for some advice.
Something tells me you're not going to see a flop with this hand.
7-8 offsuit? Oh, probably not. No. And someone's raised, and someone else has called that. No thanks. See, I understand the basic principles.
Tricky for Peter Hooch, because it looks like Tomo might just be punishing the limpers, or the mini raise and then the mini call. Oh,
Yeah.
a bit of pot
Ooh,
here.
boy.
And H2, I think, could have got out of this. It's a bit of a jungle to go in with Jack King there. Got no guarantee either of his cards is good if they arrive. But he's in there, for better or worse, and the ace may slow them all down. 3-way pot. Kings are not happy about that ace, and he's looking to find out where he is.
It's a small bet, isn't it, for that size of a pot? I suppose if it worked, though.
Yeah, he couldn't know that he wasn't betting an ace.
Yeah.
Great Scott gets Jack King offsuit on the button. And what's your thoughts when you pick this up, Karen?
I'm thinking, am I going to be punished if I limp in? Am I going to be punished if I make a raise? But I'm going with the theory that I need to start consolidating some chips. Jack King on the button. The likelihood is there's only 2 people after me, obviously. They don't have anything. Only I've come up against an ace queen who's decided to bet it.
You've got H2 Stephen 2 to your left, and
And when you're on the button, he's the big blind, but he's obviously a caller, and that makes it difficult for you to steal. I mean, he's called there with 6-7, which is it's an unwise call. But when you're in that situation, unfortunately, you can't do much stealing because you get called.
Yeah.
But then if you do pick up a decent hand on the button, you'll probably get action from it. So it's important to be realistic. I mean, he'll say you must steal, but sometimes you can't steal. And if you're in a situation in the game where you can't steal for whatever reason, just stop. And there's always an upside to every downside in poker. If you can't steal, that's a downside, but the upside is you get paid when you do get a hand. So just tighten up.
Okay. Yeah, I will definitely watch that next time. In fact, I wish I had my little notes for the players right now. I would be making some more notes here. It's nice when you can see all their cards. And then you can really get an idea of what they're doing.
You mean you didn't use a little button on the side of the computer that shows you all the cards?
Oh, did I miss that again? No wonder I'm not doing very well. So I tried to steal, but I got out of it when it was clear that someone else had bet into it. Was that all right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You had no hand.
So far, so okay. Now I've got King Queen, and again I'm thinking, oh God, what do I do?
And this is difficult here because someone's raised into
But
you.
not very much. But at the same time, every single time I'm going in, and there's still 4 people to act after me, I'm just really nervous about the whole thing.
You going to call?
No. I'm really thinking about it.
Yeah, I don't think the fold's terrible. There could be someone behind you with a big hand. The raise there could be a decent hand, and King Queen is basically a very unstable hand, so I don't mind the fold. I'd probably call, but I'm going to be playing the flop by the skin of my teeth if I don't like it.
Yeah.
But I've got to play it because I've paired up. I don't mind a fold at all.
Okay. Ace against King. With 2 pair on the board.
Well, I think I must take it.
Yeah, the power of position.
Great Scott picks up Ace Jack offsuit. It's a scummy sort of hand. What are you going to do with it, Kara?
I'm thinking I'm going to probably just... oh, I think I had this one in both different games I played. Once I limped in with it, didn't get anything, and once I threw it away. I think this might be where I throw it away. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I prefer a fold to a limp, actually.
Yeah.
I'm probably going to have to bet. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, if you're getting looked up all the time, if you just decide that the table wants to look you up, then fold it, fine.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I was unsure if I wasn't capitalizing on something, but it just felt too dangerous, especially in such early position, and I'm always getting called. So if I don't really have a made hand, I'm getting a bit nervous about going into a pot.
Both players drawing to the gut shot. One wants a 3, one wants a 4. It's 3 that comes, giving the pair to Wizard and the straight to Hooch. And it's fairly safe, that straight. But that's not necessarily a reason to flat call it. If you think you're going to be called, if you raise, raise. Don't just slow play for want of a better idea. First ask yourself, I've got a big hand, will he call me if I bet? And if the answer is yes, then for heaven's sake, bet. Otherwise you're just delaying getting paid for your hand, and that's never wise. Yeah, I think you're about to get pushed off this monster, Kara.
Yeah, amazing that. The strength of the 3-6 offsuit. It's not underrated.
It's not underrated.
No, it certainly isn't.
It'd never ever be underrated.
Because it's pretty bad. Yep, all things considered.
120? 40? Ooh. Let's have a look at the flop then.
Yeah.
Gut shot. And it's difficult to bluff sometimes when it's 3 suited because your opponent's either got a heart or wants to defend against your draw. But
Oh,
you have a pop
over
at it.
pops
Ah,
it, yeah.
what a player! What
I
a
can't
player!
believe it. I had my heart in my mouth and I was thinking he's going to call it and have something much better than I've got. Thank God for that. No? You wouldn't
Yes, lovely,
Oh,
lovely.
okay,
You
good.
push them off it, you turn the loser into a winner. That's poker.
Excellent. I needed those chips, I think. 6 ace suited. Making 2 times the big blind raise. Wow. Hits a 6.
And so many outs there for Tomo. He's got
Yeah.
the king or the flush, and some sort of straight may materialise yet. Oh, look, the ace-6 folds. Great Scott with the ace-9.
Oh, again. An amazing hand.
My heart doesn't sing when I pick this up on the button. Did yours sing, Kerry?
It didn't. I would have tried to steal with it, except I knew I'd get called.
Yeah.
I just knew I'd get called. Unless I put a huge bet in and then I risk them actually having a hand.
With that guy in the big blind, I think there's no reason why. To be honest, with him, because he's calling, I'd probably put in a minimum bet and hope to get called by a considerably worse hand and then get paid when I catch the ace. But it's a slightly iffy way to play it because, you know, if you're coming in with ace-9 hoping to get involved in a pot, you're never going to be that far ahead. So I don't think a fold's terrible.
Okay.
And there's a good chance you'll get looked up. Oh dear.
I know.
Oh dear, oh dear.
Is this not so unfair?
That's a bit
It's
brutal.
poker. It's
Folly's
poker.
got the nuts.
It's so unfair. And I'm thinking, does he? Does he really? I don't know. I'm not sure.
How do you get away from this?
I'm asking him a question,
Have you got a club and have you got the ace is what you're asking.
and he says, uh-huh.
Well, that saves you, I think.
Yep. He checked it around to me, so I just checked it again. But I knew it. By this point, I knew it. He was just trying to trap me. He was going to check it, and he was going to raise it, and not a chance. But I've just wasted so many chips.
Well, if you folded, Kerry, you've played it perfectly because you've done nothing wrong there. You bet with the kings when you're ahead. You found out where you were on the flop. You found out where you were, and then you got away from it. So, you know, you can't play better poker than that. You couldn't have got away for less, I don't think. Because if you just checked the flop, you could have let him draw onto a flush.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was thinking. I saw the cards. Anyways, I did say, he said to me, I had the flush on the flop, just so you know. And I said, well, I did need to ask the question. I said, I had a pair of kings. And at least everyone else knew that, you know, I had a hand. I wasn't going into a blind with nothing. Oh, well, you win some, you lose some. Or you lose a lot. And you win very rarely.
And so it goes.
And so it goes.
So now in trouble, you've got, what is it, 5, 6, 7 big blinds.
That's it. That is it. And I'm thinking to myself, I'm now going to have to find a hand to push all in it with. So keep my eyes open. I do wonder, what could I have done to this point to have saved myself those chips?
In that pot, nothing. You know, you got away as cheaply as you could have. Bye-bye, Water Stephen.
Yep, I'm just glad I didn't go out first. That's saving grace there. Gim Boyd has his king ace in the small blind. Oh, and just as an aside, we were looking at one of the players earlier, Alan Thompson, and I'd said that, I believe it was Stanters who asked if he wore a beige vest, that the name just made it sound like that. No, he doesn't. He does not wear vests, certainly not beige ones. This is what I've been told. In case anyone in the nation was wondering, Alan Thompson, not a big fan of the beige vest.
Did he volunteer information about what he does wear?
I didn't want to ask.
In case he said just Y-fronts at the moment.
That's the thing, really. Yep, because you just can't tell, can you?
No, it's internet poker, you know. You never know.
You just never know.
It's a funny old thing, the internet. Ah, Great Scott takes a pot. What was it? I missed it.
Oh, they all folded around to me.
Well played.
Brilliantly played. Yeah,
So these blinds are about to go up quite soon, I should think, Kara.
they certainly are. I'm thinking King 7. I really don't want to push all in with King 7. Wow, the game board just fold.
What did he fold?
It was king, what was it, king queen or something?
Well, it's exactly what you did, facing a minimum raise
Yeah.
and the same move.
I guess so, huh? Now I've got king 5, even worse than king 7. But at least it's suited.
I might push here. It's marginal.
Yeah, I was thinking that myself. I've just gone, I mean, the blinds have just gone by. I can wait a few more hands and see what comes up. King 5 suited's not that great.
But then you're losing position. The thing is, you've only got 2 players to
guess
act.
so, yeah.
And you've got a lot of information there, only 2 players behind you.
Yeah.
I might push. A better kicker. I've got king 8 suited, that might even tip it.
Well, I'm glad I didn't. Because there is a pair of aces for each one. Unless an 8 comes down.
Well out of it.
Yeah. Is this not riveting?
And in fact, there's a split here for these players.
Ah, is there?
But Vidal's going to get pushed off it. They've both got aces and fours with a king.
Yes, of course. Wow. But he's kicking himself now. And what a great hand, 7-2. Oh, yes. Wow, and there we go again. Kings against kings.
Well, I think yeah, he just decided, I think, to call it down. Not sure where he is. King or a 6 for a split. And the 10 plays was it's winning. I'm going to get paid, but probably not raised.
Pair of 3s. You gotta be kidding. In early position? Eesh.
Yeah, on the button I push, I think there
Yeah.
you can let it go.
That's what I thought. I just, too many to act behind me.
Trouble is, if those blinds go up just as the blinds are arriving on you,
Yeah.
and you let the blinds, then you've halved your stack.
Yeah, which is just too painful to contemplate, I think.
So I think this is probably my hand, ace 9 suited. I'm
Yeah.
going to push with this. I don't like it much, but I've got to push.
Yeah. What else are you gonna do, right?
Yeah. And it goes all in.
Cross your fingers.
Oh, you folded.
I did.
That's a bit tight, Kara.
I know.
That's a bit tight.
Okay. No, you're right. It was. It was definitely too tight. At least it was suited and everything. My position's not really getting all that much better, and I'm about to be hit by the blinds. I should have pushed on that one.
I think so.
Yeah, you're right.
And you're not dead. You know, if someone calls you with ace jack, you're about 30%, you know,
Yeah.
with that hand.
It's worth a go.
Yeah, you don't want
anyways.
to call her, but I think I pushed there.
Okay. Yeah, I figured that was probably a mistake when I did it.
Do you think you've got a defeatist mental state by this point?
I do. Very much so.
You look like you had one. I was looking at you out of the corner of my eye.
Yeah. I was quite slumped. I'm still quite slumped.
And there the blinds have gone up, and you're on the big blinds.
Yeah. I am indeed. And I know he's going to call me no matter what I do here. So I might as well.
And yeah, that's big enough to move all in with. Because you're already all
Yeah, I'm
in
committed,
for
aren't
the big
I?
blinds. And he could be having anything there and attacking you.
Yeah.
So, you're ahead.
Yeah, ouch.
Not
No,
anymore.
I'm not.
You got the draw.
And no. And no. Oh, Lord, Lord, Lord.
So that's that.
Mm-hmm.
You're out ski.
I am out ski.
I mean, to be honest, you folded the ace 9, but then when you picked up the ace 8 there, you were ahead.
And I was on the button. Oh, not on the button. I was on the big blind. I
Yeah.
thought, you know, good position and all.
I guess the moral really is, if there is one, is that although you're ahead there, it's with the ace 9 there's a chance everyone will fold. Whereas with the ace 8, although you've got to defend it, but of course, if possible, when you're short stacked, you want to avoid a showdown because you get so much just by winning the blinds. So, oh well, I don't think you played bad at all.
No?
No,
Pants.
no, you played great.
Well, I keep... Ugh. Okay. I play all right, and then it comes back, and the commentators watch it, and they go, no, actually, you didn't do too bad here. This is, all good poker. And I still lose.
Well, it's variance, isn't it, Kara?
Yeah, but variance would assume that at some point I'll start winning. And I know I have. I just never win on Beat the Presenter. I only ever win when I'm not on Beat the Presenter.
Well, you're one of these unsung heroes who wins big away
yes.
from the TV cameras, like the big cash game players.
Well, it's definitely not the pressure of it, because I'm actually playing, proper poker. I'm, not making ridiculous moves. I'm not...
Mm-hmm.
I'm making a few mistakes here and there, but I'm a new player. I need to figure out what the key is. Where's the key? Where's the secret key for poker where I can,
It's not that really. It's a case of getting the principles and then gradually refining them and using experience to know when they apply and just always just basically shaving off little leaks here and there.
Yeah. Okay. It's the hemorrhages that really worry me.
Yeah, you've got to stop the hemorrhages and shave the leaks.
Well, I would really, really love to hear from anyone I played against in either the first game or the second game. I went out 7th both games. The first game, you haven't seen it, but I will tell you, pretty much the same sort of thing happened. Tried to play solid poker, tried a few steals, got slapped back, so stopped trying to steal. Tried to limp a couple of times, got slapped back, stopped trying to limp. And just not good at all. So I'd like to hear from the players I played against. Seriously, where do you think I could have done better? Where do you think I went wrong? Text poker and your comment on my play to 84222. Or if there's anyone else out there watching as well, let me know what you think. Because honestly, until I know how to get better, I'm not going to get better. poker@pokernightlive.co.uk. Because I do take this quite seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And I would really like to improve. If only to save myself the humiliation. Yeah. Well, there you go. Well done, players. We've now lost another one as well, so 3 seats empty in this $2 tournament. And there's 3 queens. Very nice for Tomo. And Tomo's all in. Could not be better.
Yep. Can't be better, you're right. All in with a massive hand. Joy to behold.
A joy indeed.
Till that nightmare card comes on the river. Down to 5. Blinds 163.20. Short stacks. I think we'll be in the money within 3 or 4 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Vidal. See, I picture someone with really great hair.
Oh, right.
Vidal Sassoon.
Maybe it is him.
Oh, it could be, Taking a break from the doing of the hair and playing of the poker instead. Right, well, kind of an outside flush draw for Wizard. Ooh.
You might have to let this go. Yeah, he's called it.
Oh. And he might actually win it.
Yeah, I mean, he knows his 3 might well be good, but unfortunately he's now locked himself in to play it to the river, effectively.
Yeah. Bottom pair. 2 aces on the board. Do you have the guts?
And if he folds here, the call on the flop was wrong.
Yeah.
If he folds here. Now, well, not that much difference, really, because he's still only got aces and 5s now, instead of aces and 3s.
Uh-huh.
Wizard's run out of steam.
Yeah.
I think Folly would probably have folded to a big bluff on the river, but then Wizard can't know that Folly isn't slow playing him with an ace, so...
Yeah. Yeah, that's probably true. They're both wondering what the other has.
Yeah.
Not entirely certain. Oh, goodness. Taking no chances there.
No. Queen 9, he might move. No, he doesn't, so Queen King will. Minimum raise. Peter Hooch must fold. Well, we're not seeing many flops here. I said we'd be in the money within 3 or 4 minutes, but maybe that was a bit rash. These players giving each other maximum respect. Tomo now moving with nothing he knows would be called, but Queen 4 is a better than average hand, and it's probably about an average hand, in fact. And next hand he's up against a random hand. In trouble? Looking for a 4. There it is.
Ah. Unless there's an ace, I think. There we go.
Yeah, doubles through. Vidal now is short stack, but on the button, and it's just possible he'll creep into the money if there's a conflagration. Yeah, well, I guess that's why he's folding the king 8.
To see what happens between these two.
Yeah. I guess he can let that one go. Because if wizard goes, then Hooch will be on the big blind before Vidal, and this could work out very nicely. But unfortunately for Vidal there, wizard catches a jack, and that makes it much, much harder now for Vidal to creep into the money. Peter Hooch will move anyway.
Yeah, someone's going to go out here fairly quickly. Would think so.
So Vidal now knows he's going to have to play, basically. Not this one, he'll go in for a random hand next time. Tomo also playing the waiting game here. Very touch and go. Peter Hooch, that walk there was huge. He picked up a lot of chips just with everyone folding, trying to avoid being bubbled. And Hooch will get well out of it. Vidal takes his chances.
Yeah. Oh boy. No jack. No jack, no deal.
Wow, now very interesting. We're on the bubble. Tomo will let that... Oh, wow. I'm gonna let it go because there's just a chance someone will be knocked out. And Queen 3 is... It's not really strong enough to warrant a stand there.
Yeah. Ooh, especially against a ace-10. When it's really not a huge portion of their stack to call. 2 pair.
And that's curtains for Tomo.
Yeah. And we're down to the money.
In the money very suddenly there.
Into the money. Who's your money on?
Wizard.
Really? Do tell. Gee, I was going to pick wizard. Oh, very nice.
I think
Three-handed and a pair of 10s.
he's going to get a walk, I think. He's not going to get to make any money out of it, but when there's 1,000 in the pot, that's preferable. And he's walking all over this. He'll have to let that one go, though. Hooch might move. Just possible. No. And Wizard knows he'll be called, so he folds.
Yeah. I suppose there's a trick, not a trick, there's a certain amount of skill to just playing a big stack, isn't there? Being able to maneuver a big stack well.
I mean, to be honest here, when the blinds are so big, again, it's just cards.
Yeah.
Everyone knows what the other one's doing. You know when they're going to call, you know when they're going to go when they're short stacked, so you don't try and nick in that situation. Hooch is out. Foley gets second place, and probably that's all he'll get.
Yeah, I would think so with the difference like that, although I suppose it's not assured. By no means is it assured.
And Wizard should bet here, because Foley has probably missed the flop. Remember that if someone's got 2 cards, an unpaired, hasn't got a pocket pair, then they'll only catch the flop 1 time in 3. So normally they miss the flop, and if you've got counter position, if you're first to act, then you can push them off, generally.
Ooh, let's see. Is Wizard... Oh.
Wizard calls, he's in bad shape. He thought he'd have 2 live cards. Oh,
Oh, boy.
makes no difference unless they split it, though. 6s and 10s and the 7 plays.
Oh, boy.
Wow.
Now that's a reversal of fortune.
And now it goes all in.
Ooh.
I think Foley's going to win this.
He might just do. Aces against ace. Oh, God. Done.
Done and dusted.
Done, done, done. Done like dinner.
Oh, well, and it slipped away from him.
Yeah, well done, Foley. Nicely played. And for the rest of everyone at the table as well, well played. Good
Including
game.
yourself, Carol.
Oh, gee, thanks. I enjoyed it until the end where I was crying, but only just a small amount. Before we actually go to another game, can I ask you a question? Because while I was playing, you may have actually answered this already.
Okay.
But I'm curious. It's a Doyle Brunson question that someone texted in, actually. If Darren from County Durham said, which hand is Doyle Brunson most famous for? Except he says Bronson. I'm thinking Charles Bronson when you say that, but that's not right. Is it 9-2 or 10-2?
10-2.
There you go.
10-2 is a handy one, 2 World Series bracelets with.
Yeah. I think Darren from County Durham just wanted to get his text read out on air, so I thought I'd do that for you. There you go. You like what I did there? There you go. Right, we're going to go to a cash game now and get away from the humiliation of the sit and go.
As they shall be known from now on, the humiliating sit and goes.
Ouch.
Well, Lurch is dropped 20, but he's still showing 4 times his initial stake, so he's doing all right. Snap it slightly up. Nat Pans has joined us. Haven't seen him for a while. I think cash game players are slightly more stable in terms of the ones we see again and again than the humiliating sit and go players. Lurch leading out there.
Lurch.
Pushed out one of the aces. Picked up a flush draw. He's got a fair few outs, Lurch. But no club.
Aces and nines.
SG looking healthy.
Making a bet there of 2. What's the normal size bet to do on the turn on the river? Does it just really depend on the situation, whether you're trying to trap and la-di-da?
Yeah, I mean, on the river's very different from the turn. On the river, basically, you either think you're ahead, and you think you're far enough ahead that you might get called by a worse hand, in which the correct size bet to make is just as much as your opponent will call, but no more, which will force them to fold. If you think you're behind, but you think you might take it with a bluff, then the correct bet is just more than your opponent is prepared to call, but no more.
Oof.
In case he's got a massive hand.
Of
So
course.
that's, you're trying to find the price to push them out or the price to keep them in.
Wow, okay. Not entirely easy sometimes, I imagine, if you don't know the people
No,
that you're playing against very well.
You know, bet size is very touchy-feely sort of thing. I mean, knowing when to bet and whether to bet is much easier to develop from a poker theory-based framework, the sort of thing we talk about in terms of protecting your hand or betting for value and so on and so on, avoiding betting where only a better hand will call you. All that stuff tells you when to bet, but the precise amount to bet is based on experience with that player, and as I say, it's basically instinctual. You can't really find a formula for it.
Okay. Right then. So no book I can go out and pick up.
Afraid not. No, the book called Bet Size is yet to be written. One solution, of course, is if you find it difficult to find the right bet size, is simply to play limit poker.
Right,
And
yes.
It's a skilled form of poker. The skills are different, and one of the different ones is that it's all about whether to bet or not, rather than how much to bet, because you have no choice in limit.
Interesting. Kings. Very nice.
Very nice, very nice.
I remember it well. Kings.
Yep. Oh well, Cara. Let's hope Lurch makes a flush. Oh dear.
Oh boy.
Just a 3 straights.
What you gonna do, Earl?
Bet.
Just over half the pot. And kings again. Well, well, well. And just behind the ace king. I don't know if Lurch is going to believe him on kings again, second hand in a row. But you never know. Let's see how he plays it. Well, ace king has put in a little bet of 2 there. Very nice, very nice. I don't think Earl is going to let go of that, though. Kings is...
Oh, Lurch has made a choice, and there'll be a call, and there's going to be blood everywhere, and there'll be crying, and no
murder on the dance
flush.
floor.
Just the aces now for Lurch. Oh, and a queen 10, of course. Oh, well, there's one of them.
queen now is also an out. Not there. Earl doubles through the Holy Grail in Texas. Look at that, 132 bucks, and Lurch has taken a big hit. I don't think he did nothing wrong there, really.
Yeah.
Ace King suited, big hand.
Yeah, it is. Just unlucky he's up against a pair of kings.
Mm-hmm.
But that's poker. You don't always know. Sometimes it's a bluff, sometimes it's not. You got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them.
Don't say we don't give out top advice on Poker Night Live, because we do.
Oh, yes. It's never trite and never cliched, except sometimes.
Up and down for O Potty. Look, Potty Dotty got replaced with O Potty. How strange.
Oh, that is strange. Maybe Potty Dotty went to bed and O Potty decided, oh, I fancy a bit of poker.
Mm-hmm.
There are quite a few couples out there who play poker together.
Yeah?
Yeah, it does seem like it, and I think there's quite a few on the show as well. There's a Mr. and Mrs. Scott. I believe one of them is Scotty, and the other one might be Farce. I think they might just be a couple. And there are a few others as well.
Seven, limp or raise? Limp it is. Not a bad choice. Snappet's not a maniac. So that's one guy who's not necessarily going to raise you. And Earl is rewarded with a gut shot draw, but with a five-way pot there, he's not going to place too much faith in his pair now. It is, in fact, in the lead. He's not to know.
Ah, snap it. Hello, Ken. Hope you're well this bank holiday. Mr. Ken Snappet himself.
No one improves. Earl takes it down. Strapping stuff.
Earl's been getting some nice starting hands.
Yeah.
A couple of pairs of kings, pair of queens. Very nice.
And the trick here is to put in a bet here that will, a Snuggy Bug will call, because having posted out of turn, he'll feel like he should justify that. But that's too much for Snuggy, and I think probably for Opoto. Well, now he's drawn there and he's caught the flush draw. He's going to catch a flush draw with those cards about one time in 10. But it's only a draw, don't forget.
Will he do it? Yeah. All right, one more card.
15 in the pot, blank on the river.
Ooh.
And now Irid won't get paid. Not a sausage.
No, it takes almost $20 in that, though. I find it quite amazing sometimes that we really are looking at real players playing for real money. Don't know, I was throwing money away willy-nilly on the horses today. Willy-nilly.
Yep.
And then I watch this and I think, wow. I suppose they're sat down in the comfort of their own home, nice and warm, probably with a cup of tea, whereas I was freezing outside watching the horses. I think I know what I'd rather be doing. Pair of tens, a pair of kings, a pair of aces.
And 7-9. Let's not forget.
Oh yes, of course. As valid a hand as any. No staying power. He's probably kicking himself now. He could have had a pair of nines.
Pair of nines in the gut shot. It's colossal. Outs all over the shop.
What are you thinking about, Lurch?
He's thinking whether he's out kicked, I think. Let's it go.
Wow. I see, I see.
Well, more pocket pairs. Seems to be a big pair each time. And how to play them? Yeah, I don't want to raise. Snuggy Bug, however, we've shown a 4 times the big blind raise, so Dean P's re-raise is a very substantial raise, and he's pretty much stated the size of his hand there, but he's still got 2 callers, so he's in the right game and he's played it right. He's unlucky to have hit an ace there, and I think really Dean P can let this go now. It's a shame, but sometimes you got to.
Yeah.
Big call from Lurch. I think a slightly tilty call there from Lurch, to be honest, before the flop.
Yeah, he has been losing a bit of money to the other players.
He's halved his money. And Dean correctly lets it go.
Well played, Dean, well played. There you go, we've had multi-table tournament, we've had single table tournaments, we've had cash games. It's all here tonight, all here. And we have emails. And your favourite topic, odds.
Okay.
Right, it's from Dead Spiders, an email sent in. Hugh Dead Spiders, good evening, guys. He says, earlier Dr. Tom was mentioning the odds of hitting 2 pair on the flop from an unpaired hand, 49 to 1. A while ago, I worked out the odds of hitting this to be 1 in 49, close enough. I'm not arguing about that. But the odds of flopping either 2 pair, trips, a house, or quads come out as 1 in 29. Okay, I'm going to take your word for it because I'm not working that out. The reason I mention this is that in my beloved 5-10 cent cash games, if you're in the small blind with lots of limpers, you only need to be able to get $1.45 of other people's money into the pot by the river to give yourself odds to call that 5 cents, assuming the big blind is emotionally stable. With several limpers in the pot pre-flop, you can usually breeze past this target. Then again, your 2 pair plus still might not be good enough to win. Yeah, that is a very important point. What do you think of playing a raggy hand purely for the odds of hitting 2 pair plus like this? Worth it when you have the implied odds? Or does the risk of blowing your stack when you make your hand but are still behind negate this play's viability? Many thanks. That's from Dead Spiders.
Thanks, Hugh. That's a very fine email. Thanks for that. I still, to be honest, kind of stick with my 49 to 1 because the trouble with trips is if you're playing with King 5 and it comes King King and you're in a multi-way pot, which is the sort of pot you want to be in to get those implied odds, then where are you? You know, you're locked into possibly a reverse implied odds situation there where you've got to play the hand because you've made trips, but your opponent's got you out-kicked and you're never going to catch up. Of course, there's also a house and a quads. You almost never make those, and when you do make a house, your implied odds are reduced by the fact that you've got all the cards that your opponents need in your hand, and they're all on the board, so you've got the whole sort of flop to yourself there. So I still say that those hands, there's really nothing hands, so they're not straightening, they're not flushing. They are all about making 2 pair, because that's only a hand that's a clear favourite in that situation, where you know you are. So, I mean, as you say, you've probably only got to get $1.45 in the pot, but you're going to lose an awful lot of those hands, as you describe it there, when you make the trips. Some of them because you're out-kicked all the way, and sometimes just because you lose to a flush or a straight or something. So I think that's a rather optimistic way to look at what you've got to get in the pot to get those hands to pay in the long run. But thank you very much.
There we go. Okay, one more before we go to a break, nice and quick. Email from Pierce B says, hey, great show once again. I've been putting what you've taught into practice after an Easter break at home where there's no internet. And everything's been going well until this weekend, up until Friday. I was up about $60 after playing a few $1 sit and goes. Wow. And a few 5 cent, 10 cent, and 10 cent, 20 cent cash games. Today and yesterday, I sat at a cash game of $20, increased it to $30, and then after a couple of bad beats, the worst being queens cracked by 3s, ouch. Should I be betting more when I think I have the best hand? Currently, it's only 3 to 5 times the big blind before the flop, and 30 to 60% of the pot after the flop turn river. Or should I play at a higher limit table where big-ish raises pre-flop with queens would chase out the 3s? Bearing in mind I've only been playing properly the Poker Night Live way for about a week, and in that time, I've finished 7th and 19th in a multi-table tournament out of 1,000, and at one cash table, increased the $10 I sat down with to $30. Is my problem just inexperience and not having an extensive experience of hands and plays? Right now, I understand what you're saying. You want to be profitable. We're going to come back to this email after the break, because obviously we don't have time to get into it properly. That's a pretty lengthy email. And, yeah, so hold on tight if you're still watching, which I'm sure you are, because you're going to want to hear the address. And anyone else who wants to get in touch, do get in touch. There's a couple of ways to do that over the break if you like to. That's up there on your screen. Text POKER to 84222 with your question. or you can also email us, poker@pokernight.live. Okay, well that's it for us this hour, but we're back again in just minutes away. So don't go anywhere, because you're going to want to come back for all the lovely poker action we have after the break. Hello and welcome back to Poker Night Live. We're here for the last hour, taking you through until the wee hours of Monday morning. Now, we read right before the break, a really good email, and I'm going to just kind of recap it for those of you who may not have heard it, because it is a good one, and Tom's going to tell you all about it. Here we go. Right, this is from email from Pierce B. Pierce B, hi, how you doing? I did say to stay tuned because we'd get to you. He says lots and lots of stuff about bad beats. And then he says, should I be betting more when I think I have the best hand? Currently, 3 to 5 times the big blind before the flop, and I'm betting 30 to 60% of the pot after the flop, the turn, or the river. Or should I play at a higher limit table where biggish raises pre-flop with queens would chase out threes because he got his queens cracked by threes? Bearing in mind I've only been playing properly the Poker Night Live way for about a week, and in that time I've finished 7th and 19th in a multi-table tournament out of 1,000. And at one of the cash tables I increased the $10 I sat down with to $30. Is my problem just inexperience and not having an extensive experience of hands and plays? I enjoy playing poker and I want to make it profitable. Please help. Well, first of all, well done. Out of 1,000 people, if you're coming 7th and 19th, that is really good. So if you've only been playing for a week, I hate you. And yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I hate you.
Well, I don't
too.
really hate you. I'm sorry. I'm just stinging myself here. Well done, you. Oh,
Well done, Pierce.
Well done.
For winding up, Kara. Yeah, some points there. First of all, I mean, you just can't rush experience because it's something that will come. So don't worry about that. That will come. What you can concentrate is now is on things that you can pick up quickly. So you say you're betting about 3 to 5 big blinds before the bet. I don't think you want to bet any more than that for sure, because it just costs too much when you get pushed off it. And if you're stealing with that, fine, you can pick up blinds here and there, but fairly often someone's going to re-raise you or call you and push you off it on the flop. So it's just too much to put in more than 5 big blinds. I think 3, 3.5 is great, 4 in a loose game. So don't go over that. Even 5 for me is a bit big, unless of course you're going all in, which is quite a different story. I'm assuming you've got plenty more chips to play with once you've put in that bet and been called. Second thing, I do think you're actually betting probably a bit too small on the flop and thereafter. You say you're betting 30 to 60%. Those are quite small bets. Don't forget that if you put in 50%, you're putting in a half pot bet, you're giving any player out there 3 to 1 to call on their money. Those are quite attractive odds to draw to all sorts of hands, just 2 overcards, for example. So I think you could quite happily bump up your bets there. And the size you want to bump them up to depends on how loose the game is. Generally, in poker, as a very broad tip, I would say that if you put in a bet size on the flop, when you've got a good but not massive hand, and you get between 0 and 1 players, depending on how, on the pot, but no more, you're betting about the right amount. It's fine if everyone folds sometimes, it's fine if you get 1 caller sometimes. Generally, you don't want more than 1 caller. So I'd ramp up your bets, depending on the game size, the sort of looseness of the game you're in, to get, on average, 0 or 1 callers. And that might involve a pot bet. If it's a completely mad game, it may involve you overbetting the pot. But find that level. And then finally, you just made a comment there about chasing out players. And it's something we talk about on Poker Night Live, the importance of protecting your hand, because, of course, beginning players don't realise that there's a lot of value in just taking what's in the pot and stopping people drawing, and that's an important poker lesson for people to learn. And so we say you bet to push out the flush draw, but do bear in mind there that that is shorthand for something a bit more sophisticated. If I bet and someone calls me with a flush draw and he's not getting odds to call with that flush draw, say for example he's on a 2 to 1 shot, or let's say he's got on a 4 to 1 shot on the turn, and I give him say let's say 3 to 1 and he calls, I will in fact make more money there if he calls in the long run than if he folds. And the reason is that when he makes his flush, he just doesn't get back what he loses in calls. So don't go completely to town on the thing about chasing out players, because a lot of the time you want those people in. So don't just say to yourself, well, each time I bet bigger, they still call, it's a problem, I must bet bigger and bigger and bigger. You want those players in if they're calling against the odds, and that is something to bear in mind. Hope that helps.
Yeah, I hope that helps. And thank you for waiting around for that answer. We did get to you eventually.
How do you know he waited around? He may be in bed.
I'm sure he did.
It's an article of faith here. We hope so.
I hope so. I desperately hope so. And I didn't mean it when I said I hated you, just so you know. Right, now we're going to go to our multi-table tournament. I believe we've got the final table here. Now this is very exciting, so let's take a look at that. Here we go. I mean, even that's just exciting right there.
The sound effect.
I know, I like it. Well, your sound effect, particularly, I like it.
It excites you.
3 guys all in. See, I said excitement. I promised excitement. Here we go. And Pango and Dead Spiders, we just came back in time to see you go. I'm so sorry.
Wow. And no sign of El Pig.
No sign of El Peak, so I'm guessing he did not make it. But Enigma is here. DVN1, who I think is a new player and a new viewer as well. He's been playing a bit. But these guys are all going to be in the semi-final, because this shows us the top 10 are all coming to this, are going to the semi-final to see who actually comes to the studio for the Poker Bowl. So well done, all of you.
So hang on a minute, Kara. If they're all in the semi-final, why are they bothering to play? I mean, is it a flat prize structure, or is there money to be had? I mean, these are questions we
I wish I knew.
need to know the answer to. So what we're seeing here is basically a sort of I don't know what we're seeing really. There's no point in playing this.
Well, it's for personal pride, isn't it?
Okay,
Yeah.
it's possible we'll see from the play how much they care about the pride.
Uh-huh. Yeah. I suppose bragging rights going into the semi-final, but they all play against each other a fair amount anyway, so I don't imagine that's going to count for all that much.
Well, they do seem to be playing it seriously, those who are still knocking around because they're folding. I guess because it's been televised, then it gives them a chance to limber up and have their play exposed to the judgment of us.
Yes, they're being exposed. That's pretty much what they're getting out of this. Yeah. Well, I suppose it's probably going to be fairly quick then, if they're not going to be worried too much about relative to who's going out when and where and what. They can do a few strange plays if they need to.
Perhaps we'll see when we get to the heads up that they'll decide to play it seriously to just as I say, to have a little warm up. So blinds 500, 1,000. We'll assume until proven otherwise that they want to win this, even though that there is now effectively no difference between fourth and first. They've all qualified.
Well, I suppose that means Skitsy can just relax a little in a regular multi-table tournament where they'd be looking at a fair jump between the prizes for fourth and third and second and first.
Oh
Might
yeah,
be a little nervous.
these qualification tournaments where there's just a flat prize structure for a number of people and then nothing for the bubble boy are just awful. At least in a real card room you can arrange some sort of deal around the bubble, but online generally you can't, and if you get bubbled you're out and everyone else gets a ticket to go wherever they're going, and you've just got a sob story.
This is true. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I do believe that this being the Pokeball qualifier, there were 27 entrants, that's 4 tables for this, and the top 10 went on to win a seat in the Poker Night Live semi-final. So that's not really that bad at odds anyways. I mean, the top 10 out of 27, you're not looking at like the last email we had where he was playing in a multi-table tournament of 1,000. So I imagine there was some pretty ferocious play at the bottom of that. But I may be wrong. This could be false information I've been given.
Well, you trust no one these days, do you,
Trust
Kara?
no one. It's a very good policy, I think.
Big pot, 128,000. I think, having heard it said live on air that it makes no odds, they've kind of lost faith in playing this. And Nat Pans, I think, is probably going to win this now. Oh, well, it's just flat calls, determined to win it. And if he lets this go, no, he calls it down, he's caught the 9. And that, Sparring King, which has arrived, is it. So it's not it. The King did arrive. I wonder if we'll see an all-in fest here.
No. DVN decides he's got enough chips to give it a bit of a practice shot.
Yeah. King 10 against Jack 8. DVN1, very short stacked. Probably not too worried. Yeah. There we go, 9 queen, takes that, uncontested. There we go, king 9 against queen 6. I imagine DVN1 can be... He's not playing incredibly aggressive here in heads-up play.
Nope.
Nope. What are you going to do, DVN1? Are you going to bet this out and just pretend? Probably not.
Top pair, big hand, always trapped, and he might well get a few more of DVN's chips out of him if he can represent a bluff here. Oh, he's just flat called there. I think Nap hand's... Trouble is, if he bets out on the river, it looks incredibly strong. He'll get paid 2, but I think he could have got more.
Is that Nap hands? Yes. With an N?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a regular player.
Alright guys, let's see some good examples of heads-up play. Not the greatest of cards. It's amazing though, even being so completely short-stacked, DVN1 comparatively to Nap hands, he's still got 18 times the big blind.
Yeah.
Wow, that certainly does point to the difference in the blind structure. With these regarding as opposed to the sit and goes.
Well, I think it's also because when they all got in the money, then a bunch of them all went in with rubbish just to get out of there. So it got reduced to 2 in under rather artificial circumstances.
This is true. I think DVN1 should probably put a bet of 8,000 in. You've got the aces. Yeah, go all in. Why not? Against jacks. Trip aces win out. Well done. Very nice. Doubled through anyways. Queen 2 there for Nap hands. Takes it down uncontested. Passing the dealer button back and forth. Right, got another ace here. Pair 6s for Nap hands when DVN1 really just has the ace high. And
Which she lets
flush
go.
draw. Yeah. Pair of 3s. If your head's up, pair of 3s, would you push all in with pair of 3s?
Yeah, if I thought there was a reasonable chance my opponent would put down something like, say, I don't know, something as good as King Jack for sure. But I just don't want to be called. I so badly don't want to be called. It's all about whether he's going to call me or not.
Right.
Basically.
I suppose so. Even just against one other player, having only a pair of 3s, there's too much of a chance he's going to hit an overcard on the flop and beat your small pair.
Yeah. I mean, if you think you're a worse player than your opponent, by all means push it all in with 3s. And if you get called by Ace King, then that's what you want, because if he's a better player than you, he's going to outplay you over time. So you want that sort of coin flip. But if you think you're a better player than him, you just desperately want to avoid a showdown with a pair of 3s, because you know at best it's a coin flip.
Right. A little bit more finesse. Well, there you go. That was the end of our Poker Bowl qualifier. Now you're going to have to stay tuned on what happens in a couple of weeks' time, I think, 2 to 3 weeks' time. I don't have the date at the top of my head at the moment, but you will see some of our regular viewers coming in here, back there, in fact, and playing in the Poker Bowl. How very exciting. It might be one of those two. We don't know. Don't know yet, but there you go. Now, we do have some more emails. In fact, one of the ones from the multi-table tournament there. Excuse me, Pango. Pango says, "Good evening. I'm still around watching regularly, but mostly just the replays during the evening." I think you mean the afternoon replays, unless you're on a different continent. I have started playing live at the local casino in Portsmouth.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely the same continent. Mostly due to my wife wanting to go to Vegas next year, so I thought live play experience would be a good idea. Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Does she expect you to like play poker while you're there and win lots and lots of money? Does she have lots of faith in you? That's very nice. The tournaments are $10 or $5 rebuys with 500 starting chips and blinds starting at 25, and they go up twice in the 2-hour rebuy period, then every 20 minutes, and there are normally 56 runners. So far, in 13 tournaments, I have made the final table 7 times with a best placing of second. Well done. This is without silly amounts of rebuys that other players seem to think is the way to play. I play tight aggressive, and I think of myself as an analytical player. Amongst the regular core of players, I've built up a reputation as a rock, who only plays premium hands. This is probably a fair comment. Now that I've built up this reputation, I'd like to start using it. What I've observed is that as the blinds increase, some players go into panic mode and call with ace, rag, king high, etc. The fear I have is making plays and losing my stack of players who call with such trash. I feel the weakness in my game is that I missed the acceleration point in the tournament. Is there a formula or a system that you use to evaluate timing, bluffing, stealing, etc.? Or is this just an instinct thing that I will develop over time? Or should I stick with the method I'm using now? I'd like to get to the final table with chips rather than just limping. And that's from Pango. Okay, Pango. Well, what do you think?
I'll tell you what I think, Pango, is I don't know if I can give any advice to someone who makes 7 out of 13 tables, final tables, because that's an exceptional hit rate. And to be honest, if that's just short-term variance, then fair enough. But if that's going to be your hit rate in the future, then I think it should be you giving me the advice. But let's assume for the moment that that's not going to carry on, or you're making really, really low places, mainly in the final table. You ask a number of interesting questions, but it concerns play around towards the end and how much bluffing and stealing you can do, for example, when people are starting to panic. And I think you sort of know the answer to your question there. If there's a very good chance that people are going to panic and call you with hands like raggy aces, it's just a case, basically, of making sure that you're going in with your steals with a hand that's probably going to beat them. In tighter games where people are playing much more aggressive poker at the final stages, where they're basically folding or raising, then that is a very much instinct-based sort of game, and you're playing their rhythms that are very difficult to describe on this poker show, but you just get a sense of when you can push it. And the difficult thing in poker is that when everyone is playing the same tight aggressive game, basically with the cards being the same for everyone in the long run, you make your money in the long run by just pushing the stealing and the aggression slightly further than everyone else. And that's the fine line that you're treading, and there's really not much expectation or value to be had there. And the answer really is to always play in tournaments such as the ones you seem to have found, where people simply play badly. You do say that you wanted to make to the final table with lots of chips, not many, not the tiny amounts that you are currently coming with. Well, I mean, to be honest, sometimes, of course, you're going to arrive chipped up just because things went well for you. But you take a choice as a poker player. You can be gunning out for first place all the way through, acquiring a big, big aggressive image, forcing other people to play for the lower places, watching their opponents getting knocked out while letting you get the lion's share of the chips. If you want to play like that, by all means do. Again, it's all about finding a game where that gives you some sort of value. I mean, if there are 20 other people in the tournament trying to do that, where's the value? Basically, the person who's waiting for a big hand will slowly in the long run carve you up. But if you can find a game where it makes sense to pursue that kind of loose aggressive strategy where you always arrive at the final table with lots of chips, or you bust out, by all means do it. But if you can't find a game where that is the case, then I don't think there's anything wrong with regularly arriving at the final table with a small stack, because when you get there, sometimes, of course, you will get a rush. You'll arrive there as one of the short stacks, but you'll just get a rush of cards. That's the way it is sometimes in poker. And then if you only very occasionally win it, because you get that rush, and then regularly come into the lower places on the final table, you're still going to be making plenty of good money.
Well, there you go. Now, we also have an email from one of our regular viewers who he didn't win the semi-final, or the Poker Night Live qualifier there, but he will be in the semi-final, so he was in the top 10, and that's Balrog UK, one of our very much well-beloved regular viewers and players. And he says, "Morning, Kara and Tom. Good morning to you as well. Somehow managed to get through the Poker Bowl qualifier today. Thing is, the last couple of weeks, I've looked back after failing and thought, I didn't do too much wrong. Oh dear, better luck next week, Steve. Tonight, I've been thinking, a couple of hands I perhaps shouldn't have made that call, but I managed to get paid, win a 50-50, one of those kind of things. Phew. Tonight so that's what he's thinking tonight, sorry. Is this just the way things happen? Have I just been lucky tonight? Or previously have I been too tight and too picky and tonight added the right dose of taking bigger risks than normal? Anyways, semi-final, here I come, a much relieved Balrog UK. Now, if you understood that through my garbled interpretation of Balrog's email.
I did, I speak garble. Thanks for that, Balrog. To be honest, I think if you think you played better on the previous games and didn't get a result, whereas you think you played not quite as well tonight and you did get a result, don't change your game. I mean, recognise that in tournaments all sorts of things can happen. You can play brilliantly and not get a result. You can play brilliantly and get your just desserts. You can play terribly and fluke it. You can play terribly and, of course, lose. If you play really terribly, you're probably always going to lose. So, Balrog, don't be results oriented. Just say, if you play 3 games, 2 of them well and 1 of them okay, then there's a good chance you're going to qualify in one of those. Now, it might just, through a fluke, be the one where you didn't play quite so well. But basically, your average play across the 3 games was pretty good. Just concentrate on keeping it tight, tightening it up. Don't be results oriented. Just always look at whether you're playing well.
Okay.
That's it.
That's it. Right. Well, now we are going to go and take a look, I believe, at another sit and go, $10 sit and go, in fact. So let's see who sat at that table.
Could be anyone. The excitement's killing me.
And me as well. There we go. Well, this is not one of our newfangled ones, I think, where they start with 2,000 chips from the looks of it. There's King Whip. We had an email from him earlier today. Hoofy sat in his normal seat. 8 Foxy 8. I'm guessing, yes. J-Beam, JWC, and the boss, Springsteen himself, in the house.
He plays on our site.
He might do. I suppose I should put a little caveat in there. It may not, however, be the Bruce Springsteen. Could be a different one. Who knows? Pair of jacks there. And the boss has a pair of 9s.
Well, if you're looking for a big payday here, it's early stages of the tournament, but there's still 2 empty seats.
Blinds are at 20 and 40. The boss has just gone all in with his pair of 9s. And, oh, hit trips. There we go on the flop. Very nice.
Oh dear.
As the jack comes down. Oh, no!
Well, justice was done, is what Hoofy will be saying.
Uh-huh.
Cackling away.
You credit him as a cackler.
I think you're justified to cackle in that particular situation, even if you're not a congenital cackler.
Well, he's certainly chipped up now. It looks like he probably needed those chips as well.
Yep. Look, 5 players left, and 2040. We've got a lot of play in this sit and go. It's looking more like the final table of a multi-table for the moment. Of course, they know the blinds will go up much, much faster than they would normally in a multi-table.
Yeah, they will do it that. It's nice to see a table, though, where in the early stages, a few people have gone out already. Did a bit of aggressive movement.
That's
personally.
right. We applaud those who got themselves knocked out because it gives us a more interesting 5-handed game. So thanks, guys.
Yeah. I don't know, sitting at a table like that and playing at a table like that is nicer. It's when they're so tight from the beginning to the end that there's just no movement. Oh, I find that so frustrating.
I bet you anything you like that Hoofy folds. Ah, well, even when Kingwick raises, definitely. But
Oh, yeah.
that'll take it down. That'll show them.
That'll show them. Oh. Decided to call there. Pair of kings on the board. I wonder who thinks the other has the king.
Could be a walk. I'm sure it's a walk. Come on, put
Is
that
it a
down.
walk?
Okay, it's a walk or an all-in. And on that occasion, it was an all-in. Well, King
Wow.
Whip is going to get the chips or he's going to get bust. Because that was a colossal raise. Putting in 20 big blinds into a completely unknown situation. And to use an oft-quoted phrase on Poker Night Live, he forced his opponents to do the right thing. If he will call with a better hand, he'll fold a worse one.
Yeah. I suppose if you watch the show enough, you see some of our regular players playing enough, you start to really get a handle on their patterns.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
And it'll be interesting to watch Hoofy here, because normally he finds himself getting near the short-handed stages when the blinds are already big, and he's not faced with too many sort of flop, turn or river plays. So I'd be interested to see how he adapts his game to this situation where he's actually got a lot of chips relative to the blinds, but he's still relatively close to the bubble. Whether he still plays the waiting game or not. He did just make a move with an ace there. But I'm sure all these guys are looking at King Whip and knowing that the value here is in trapping King Whip, because he's so massively overbetting the pot that everyone's looking to get themselves heads up against him holding a strong hand. Very important to concentrate on who the value player is at the table. And another oft-quoted phrase that long precedes Poker Night Live: if you can't work out who the sucker is, it's you.
Yep. That is a good one. That's at the top of my quote list.
And in a tournament, that's just too bad. And if you recognise that you're the sucker, then just take steps to increase the variance of everyone by making big moves. But in a cash game, if you genuinely can't find who the sucker is, you've just got to go. And if you carry on sitting down in a game where you know you've got no expectation, then what are you doing? Just go and find a softer game. It's not hard on the internet. Often people stick in games where they've got no one there worse than them simply because they're too proud to leave. You know, they maybe lose a load of money to someone and say, well, I'm going to get even. Well, it's all just money. Go and get even against someone else on an easier game.
There is something to be said for that. I suppose in a tournament you really don't have the option of standing up until you bust out, but in a cash game, I suppose you just wait till you've got a real feel for it. But if you're in a cash game and you're not doing that well, how long do you leave it before you make that decision to stand up? Because if you're not doing that well because your cards aren't so good, or if you're not doing well because you're steaming, or if you're not doing well because you're being outdrawn, when do you think is the right time to stand up?
If you think you've got an edge on the game, you should stick around. If you're naturally a very tight, cautious player, and you only tend to get involved with the business, then if you stick around for a long time and you get no cards, the trouble is that your table image now pretty much equates to your genuine playing style. So if you physically can't stomach bluffing much, if you just hate it, it's not why you play poker. And I assume if that's the case, you're playing fairly low-stakes poker, because obviously you can't get away with that attitude at higher stakes. Although at lower stakes, people who don't bluff generally do better than those who do bluff a lot, because they find they're playing against people who call anyway. But to get back to my point there, if you're someone who doesn't like bluffing and you've sat for a long time in a game and not got cards, you've just got to go, because you've lost your edge now. Because when you bet, they will fold because you haven't bet. So you're better off upping, going to a completely different cash game, sitting down there where they know nothing about you. And if you pick up the aces in that game that you were as likely to have picked up in the previous game, you're just much more likely to get value on them there. So shift across to a different game.
Good advice indeed, Dr. Tom.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
No, thank you, Karen. On the bubble, blinds are now 81.60 and nearer what we'd expect them to be, and so we're seeing these all-in moves are now justified. King Whip, as predicted, has, of the two options, has done one of them. He's acquired chips rather than get himself knocked out. And this is really where he should be using that really super aggressive style, because at the bubble, of course, although there's a chance he'll run into a big hand, the other player's willingness to avoid being bubbled may mean that by the time he does run into it, they'll have lost a lot of chips. So it's a really effective strategy. Having established his brand early on, he should be getting it to pay for him here with big moves.
Yeah, I bet Hoofy was a bit disappointed he didn't try a blind steal there, but he had King Queen.
Yeah, he was waiting for it, sure. There it is, and that'll take it down. 240 more, thank you very much, ka-ching.
And that one's gone as well.
Hoofy and Foxy both should be very aware, as I'm sure they are, of the size of their stacks relative to the blinds. At the moment, Hoofy there sitting with, 7 big blinds. Foxy a similar amount. And they've got a choice here. They can play to get in the money. Oh, neither wants to see a split there.
Oof.
What did JW say? Let's see what happened there. Was there a side pot?
No, JWC was all in for much less than King Whip was in for.
Oh yeah, it's straight on the board.
Oh, there it is, yeah. Luckily, he didn't have to rely on his pair of twos. Aha, pair of kings for Hoofy.
Oh, we might get value here. I don't think King Whip can resist that one, 9-10 suited. I'm surprised if he's folded. No, he's moved. I'm not surprised at all. And look at this, kings are miles ahead.
And that king on the board is just going to make him happy.
He's
Look at that.
Completely out of it. He's okay.
Oof. Even if King Whip had the ace and thought he was okay, nope. Pair of three kings there for Hoofy.
And all in. And probably a call, frankly, with Queen 9 suited. I think JWC will call certainly the short stack, because there's more value in calling him than calling anyone else. Because if he calls this guy and wins, he guarantees third place. But if he calls someone else and wins, he gets more chips, but he doesn't guarantee a money finish. And it's quite an understandable fold there, but I might have made the call myself with a suited queen. And he could get the hell out of there, and he does very wisely. King Whip, likewise, should let them fight over it. And JWC is going to be gutted to see this chopped, which it will be.
Yeah. And they're all still here, desperately waiting to see who's going to go out before the money.
Stick it all in. Absolutely no need to be fancy. There's no point in doing that, because a king or an ace will come in and you don't want them in. Stick it all in for sure.
King Jack. I imagine he'll play with that.
And I see very little value in these small raises. 480 to be got, and he's trying to play it for all his chips, trying to take it to a flop. But he's just letting someone in to see the flop, and if they catch, then they catch, and if they miss, they fold. So JWC gains little there, apart from giving opponents a cheap flop.
And they seem to have found an equilibrium at 2 times a big blind. I suppose with the blinds being so high, that's expected.
It's bonkers. No, it's just stupid.
Ah,
frankly.
right then.
I don't know where they got this idea from. He said in a curmudgeonly way, but what's the point in it? I mean, the blinds are so big. With aces, kings, I don't mind them coming in. More than that, I'll take the blinds.
Well, King Whip had a bit of a lead there, but he is definitely not way out in front anymore.
And difficult here for Foxy. His ace deuce can't be far ahead, but he's got a sneaking suspicion that he is ahead, and there's quite a lot of money there in the blinds. I call it myself, and he does. Yeah. I know I'm basically going in for a coin flip, but it's looking like it will work out. Yeah, he's made it with a straight of all things.
Well done. I suppose if he's been watching King Whip push in so much and be so aggressive that it wasn't quite as scary for him to call that.
That's a deciding factor. King Whip immediately back on the mend. And JWC now is the one they're looking at. And it will go to a showdown here, and the ace-7 is not far ahead at all. Maybe 62% or so before the flop. Doubles through. And finally now, King Whip is the short stack.
Huh.
And getting shorter by the minute, because there's a big whack of his chips gone in. I think he's going to want to play the king. They will fold and get out of the battle. What they know is going to be here a very like to go to an all-in from King Whip. And Hoofy has got to call. The pot odds are just too long. Still, any pair will take it. No.
Oh.
King Whip takes it. Oh, what an amazing bubble situation this is. Now Hoofy's the short stack.
Huh.
In the small blind there. And he'll let that go, I'm sure. Oh, he goes all in.
Oh boy. He's very, very lucky. Foxy didn't have anything really at all.
No, but I admire the aggression. I think when I said he was going to fold, it was a character-based prediction, but he realises here that with one player behind him and any possibility that Foxy's going to fold, he's right to bet, and he made the right decision.
I bet a JWC was thinking, can I steal this? Can I take this? Must be so tempting.
And now the blind's as big, that is effectively an all-in anyway. Because if he comes in, which he is, he's committed.
Oh
And
boy.
will save him. No miracles.
Oh, down to 400 chips.
And straight into the small blind. So
Ouch.
this is showdown time.
That is not the hand that you want to get when you're in that situation.
Not now, it's not, no. Needs a miracle straight. 7? Oh, it's a full house. What am I talking about? 7's no good.
Oh.
7 will be mockery. If he's bubbled.
Oh no.
There you go. Someone's got to do it.
This is true.
I imagine he's a bit cross about that.
I bet he is.
Nice flop for an all-in man. And JWC going to take a big pot here and prolong this already prolonged sit and go. King Whip will have to go with that. He's already in for his small blind, and he's got rather a lot of work to do here. In fact, I'll go so far as to say he is dead on the flop. So he's out.
Oh boy, I bet you JWC and Foxy feel, again, quite justified. The aggressive play didn't bear out in the end, although he did make it into the money.
Difficult to get JWC to put down 1400 there. Foxy knows it, lets it go. Now can JWC use counter position here? He's got the hand to do it with. He'll bet and he'll get a fold. It's just starting to irk me, these non-all-in bets. I think they're doing it to rile me, to be honest, Karen.
I bet they are. I've heard tell that this is indeed the case.
Well, it makes me mad.
As mad as a baboon?
Baboons are very rational creatures.
Ah, yes.
Much more rational than humans.
I would agree, from many of my primate to behavioural classes in university.
It's all over there, Kara. Look, JWC won it.
Ah, there we go. Well done, JWC.
Well done.
Well done indeed. There you go, $10 sit and go. So you take home a nice pot and second prize as well. Not too bad. So now we have 2 emails that I
Okay.
would like to go to. And again, from some of our regular viewers, and very nice to always have you guys emailing in. Anyone is welcome, though. If it's the first time you're watching, feel free, and we will read them out. Now this is from Gimboyd. Gimboyd says, "Hi guys, Kara, really enjoyed playing against you on the Beat the Presenter. I thought you played well. In my opinion, you got away as cheaply as possible with the kings. Perhaps your only mistake was not pushing with the ace-9 suited. Thank you. I think that in these tourneys, once you feel that you're getting short-stacked, you must push at the earliest opportunity. If I've lost a few chips, it feels to me that I'm lucky if I get one chance to go all in before it's too late. Often, you plan to go all in and someone raises before you and then you have to pass. Therefore, I must make sure that I take that chance when it crops up. Keep up the good work." You know what, Gimboy, thank you very much, because I did say, both in the chat box and then on the show, if people could actually watch the playback, see the hands that I had and why I was playing the way I did, then tell me what they think of my play. I'd really appreciate it, because just watching what I was doing in the chat box, there were a lot of people observing the game and just going, "When are you going to make a move? Aren't you going to do something?" And kind of heckling and whatnot. So I appreciate someone who's actually watched it back and given me some advice and whatnot on it, so thank you.
Just ignore the chat box, Kara.
I know I should, but I really like actually having a chat with some of them in there. It's, you know, it's nice. But there you go. So I appreciate that. Thank you. Now, we've got another one here. This is from Buffy Be Good, another one of our regulars. Buffy Be Good says, "Dear Kara and Dr. Tom, just a quick email to explain any very doubtful folds I made in the Poker Bowl qualifier that I may have seemed to make. If I appeared to fold ace-ace at any stage, it was merely because I registered but didn't quite make it back from the various lovely Bristol pubs in time to play." And that would explain the grammar and typing as well. "I know my usual play is usually enough to attract justifiable criticism, but I assure you my extremely passive, i.e. not even being there, style this evening is not something I intend to copy in the future. Good to have you back this week, Dr. Tom, and always a pleasure to see Kara alongside you. Look forward to seeing you both again." Aw, thanks, Buffy. And you too. I'm curious. I wonder where you placed.
I'm curious actually about something else, Buffy, because I'm off to Bristol next Saturday for a stag night, and the stag has sent round requests for preferred pubs to go drinking in. So if you've got any great suggestions between centre of town and the Gloucester Road, apart from the Highbury Vaults, then I'd be delighted to know. And if you get them back to us as quickly as possible, and for the rest of the viewers, I promise we'll stop talking about beer and get back to the poker.
Indeed we will. We have a 25-50 cash game to take a look at, and we're going to go there now.
Looks Lurch, he's moved seats, curiously. I think this must be a different game. He's multi-tabling. Well, he's doing all right on this game too. One to watch, obviously, our Mr. Lurch. Unless he's just had a lucky old night, but until proven otherwise, we'll assume he got his chips through skill. Innocent till proven otherwise on Poker Night Live.
Yeah. Snuggybug's still there. Snap It's still there as well. Or on the second table. Cat on a Shed. Great names, some of you, really.
I thought that might be a spoonerism, but I can't quite see what it's saying. No.
Which one?
Cat on a Shed.
No, apparently it was on the forum. People just kept saying it wrong, and it really is Cat on a Shed.
Okay.
I know, see, that's why we get these wrong sometimes. We're looking for something that's just not there.
That's right, we second guess ourselves.
Ah, yes. There
As
must
poker
be.
players are wont to do.
Oh, yes. They're looking for the deeper meaning.
Well, he's got the double gut shot there, Appletiser. He's got the mystery 8-card straight draw. Or has he? Sometimes they're difficult to see. Yeah, the 8 or the Queen. He has got it. The 8 or the Queen gives him the straight.
Oh, here we go. Last card. You've got the kings. What are you going to do, Appletiser? Ah, yes. Not what you were hoping to see. SG.
And you can let it go.
Yep. And off it goes. There we go. Lots of random hands. Might just see the blinds duking it out for this one.
Duking it out?
Yeah, have you never heard that?
No.
You know, put your dukes up. It's like 1950s boxing terminology.
Really?
Get your dukes up.
This is up in Dixonville. You use this terminology.
Well, yes, in other places as well, obviously.
Okay. Duking it out.
Duking it out.
Good. Lovely.
It's another one for you to know. It's very multicultural here on Poker Night Live. We've got English, Canadian, and Northern.
Northern
England.
Northern England?
Wasn't Lindsay Northern?
Lindsay's Northern, yeah, she's right Northern.
Yeah.
Just a limp from Cat on a Shed there, looking for the old big pots. Only investing a mere 72th of his chips. But he's missed. Snuggy Bug, however, caught the old aces up.
Nice.
In fact, he had Lurch dominated in the first place, but it never hurts to make two pair. Craven with a rather sickly draw to not much at all.
Ooh, or even better.
Oh, he's so glad he got out of that pot. He's cursing the fact that he folded King 4, but he'll be pleased when he sees the cards come over.
Oh, yes.
If he sees them.
If he's not just seeing red.
And how much? 7 is what I put in. Oh, there you go, 7.5. There it is. Craven gets to see the full house.
He's probably wiping his brow and thanking the poker gods that he got away from that one.
Wiping his brow, yeah. Oh, Snap It coming in with an under the gun limp. He must reckon this is a pretty passive game. Looking for those long implied odds. His diamonds are fairly live. Craven might fancy it too. Who knows? No. Lurch going to disappoint Snap It? No. And Snap It's hit his other surprise hand, which is trip 5s.
Not so bad for limping in.
He doesn't get paid, but hey, got his blind back.
Aces against ace. And they've all decided to take a piece of this. Or at least take a peek at it. And none of them have hit anything. And Lurch takes it down.
Oh, just a limp on the button. I almost never do that.
No?
No, I generally raise or fold. If it's been folded all the way around to me on the button, I don't think I can live with myself if I just limp. It's just too weedy.
It's too £90 weakling, huh?
It's too passive. It really is. I mean, I don't mind a fold, but it's just too passive.
Yeah, you just end up with someone kicking sand in your face, and you just don't need that. Pair of tens.
Oh, he folds. That's
Oh,
interesting. Getting
goodness.
interesting odds there. Getting very nice odds, but I guess Snuggy Bug reckoned he was going to be facing a bet on the river if he called on the turn, so factoring that into his calculations, he thought he'd better let it go.
Well,
Duked out of it, he was.
Put your dukes up. Well, you guys continue playing if you care to and enjoy yourselves. And we'll be back again tomorrow night for the Monday, Bank Holiday Monday edition of Poker Night Live. And it's going to be Pro Night as well, so you're not going to want to miss that. Lots of great strategy and theory talk. Will there not be? I imagine there will.
Yeah, I'm going to be playing Mahjong tomorrow night, but you won't be privy to that.
Okay then, let us know how that goes.
Okay.
For all of you out there, have a lovely evening. Get some sleep now. It's a little bit late. And we're going to be very happy to meet you back here again tomorrow. I'm back on Tuesday, so I will see you then. Good night.